Following our first college football playoff appearance in Season 4, the Delaware Blue Hens are riding high. We went undefeated in conference play, taking home our first conference title since Season 1, and are now one of the highest-rated teams in the entire game. But it was also bittersweet watching our former quarterback win the Heisman at Notre Dame. With our largest senior class yet, our roster is set to see some major changes. Can we build upon our playoff appearance and get the Blue Hens miles above the rest of the country? Welcome to year number 5 of the Delaware Blue Hens dynasty here on College Football 27. We're now 4 full seasons in. Man, time really does fly. Year 4 was certainly our most successful season yet, winning the American Athletic Championship and making it to the college football playoff, where we lost in a first-round heartbreaker to Alabama. We came into this conference and really took it over right away. Memphis, of course, had us shook. They really should have beaten us twice, but we miraculously beat them 38-31 in overtime in the regular season and then came back down by 10 at halftime in the conference title game. We only lost 2 games, dropping our first matchup to Notre Dame with the former Delaware quarterback Steele Pizzella, who of course ended up winning the Heisman Trophy. I knew he was good, I didn't quite know he was that good. And then, of course, the playoff game against Alabama on the road, we lost 24-21 in an absolute heartbreaker. We had a really good team this year, but unfortunately, it was such a senior-driven roster that we're going to lose a lot of players. But we also have a lot of available NIL, over 2,200 points to spend on the team and recruiting. But we have a lot of players that we're going to have to replace. We went out and got Carson Boyd in the transfer portal last year at quarterback, and he had a really good season. But he's a senior, and he unfortunately will be leaving. Our top 3 running backs, our top 2 receivers, and our starting tight end are also graduating, along with a couple players on the offensive line. And the defense is losing a lot of notable players, including much of our secondary. I don't know how we're going to be able to replace all these guys. Last year's roster only had 3 seniors, so it was pretty easy to try to upgrade through the portal, but largely run it back. This year, practically half the roster is filled with seniors. So it's going to be a very different looking team going into next year. But luckily, as our program has improved, we now have 4 times the amount of dynasty points that we started with. We definitely have to build a new facility. That's something that I've been targeting since last offseason, and we're going to continue to make it a priority, I think, each and every year to go up a level. We can also choose a new amenity to add to our facility as well. I didn't want to spend too much, but I wanted to add something good. So I'm going with the silver hydration station, which helps with wear and tear, which has been kind of a problem for us over the years. We still have almost 1,800 points to spend, and I think we're going to be able to bring a lot of our guys back, including both of the quarterbacks. To me, HEISMAN-Caliber could easily be our starter this season, and Eric Dickens, I think, is going to be a really good backup. I'd rather not worry about quarterback when we've got so many other positions that we're dealing with in the portal. There are a couple players who we're probably going to have to let go of, but there's only 4 players listed as high risk. I'm going to try to pay everyone else, including our top 2 receivers, Glasgow and Mosley, of course the quarterback, HEISMAN-Caliber. A lot of the other guys don't really cost much. On defense, Leon Irvin, Polo Anderson, and DeMarco Daniels are 3 guys who I really think we can build this thing around over the next year, or I guess in Irvin's case, the next 2 years. I think we're going to lose a couple players to the portal, but really not that many. Most of our losses will be graduating players, and, well, we do have a number of players who are interested in going into the portal, but luckily we can convince 7 guys to stay. We'll start with Leon Irvin, extremely high, he's sticking around. Polo Anderson sticking around. CJ Treggs, our starting center, is back. Cliff Hernkovich at guard. Cornerback Dorian Childress. Running back J.D. Fresh, who had a low chance to stay, even he does. But unfortunately, Nick Witherspoon and Dalen Johnstone will not. That's only 2 players, though, going into the portal. All of the other underclassmen will be back. Now, obviously, there's a lot of seniors here and a lot of key players who we've built this team around over the last couple of years. I look at guys like Azir Lee and Trenton Gummer at corner who have really developed for us. Noah Jefferson lost some playing time this year, but remember his freshman year when he had 3 interceptions in the first 4 weeks? Jamarian Calabodi is going to get drafted, one of our day 1 guys. How is he an 88 overall, though? I feel like he barely got better in the 4 seasons he was here. And then after the Alabama game, his rating goes up by like 5. Chandler Telfair starter at offensive tackle. Jackson Bowman at tight end. DJ Kelly has started opposite of Calabodi over the last 3 years at corner. Oliver Lumberg Coleman has been the best running back we've had in this series, over 1,000 scrimmage yards. Tyron Parker at wide receiver. He's been phenomenal for us. AJ Tuitele has held the green dot at linebacker. Jaden Wright was great as our RB2 this year. He had a phenomenal season. Ricky Williams was good before he suffered a season-ending injury. Carson Boyd, I thought, was our best quarterback yet. Walter Newberry was a good get from the portal. Elijah Groves had nearly 10 sacks. And then Cameron Hamill is going to go in the first round, and Philip Fulmar is going to go in the second round. These were both portal additions last year. I thought Hamill was the best player on the team. And Fulmar we threw on the portal during the last week looking for depth, and now he's going in the second round. Steele Pizzella is going to go round 1, which is kind of funny given that he has 79 throw power. I cannot imagine what that would scale to at the NFL level. But he is getting drafted in round 1. I don't necessarily agree with it, but he has been a really, really good college quarterback. Now it's time for the portal. Unfortunately, there's only 4 guys who we have left on our board. 2 commits and 2 other players who we have interest in with Colin Payne and linebacker James Clinton. So basically, we're going to have to build our entire team through the portal, which is fine because that's what we've done over the last few years and it's really worked out. There's a 5-star prospect interested in us, cornerback Marcus Branch. There's a handful of 4 stars as well, but to me, the 3 stars are always the sweet spot. This is where you can really find talent for a bargain. I think running back is our biggest need, and we've got a couple guys who could start, given that our top 3 running backs are all gone. And as I look at the remaining players in the backfield, the rest of our running back room has 0 career touches. So we've got to get some vets in the portal. I think Jameer Yates could be a really good option from Washington State, or Nelson Wheeler from Illinois. You may recognize that name because in the Noah Halliday Road to Glory series, Nelson Wheeler is actually one of the players on our team. He's the backup running back. And Nelson Wheeler is also the player who DM'd us about his girl breaking up with him and going on a girls' trip to Miami. Shout out to our naive king. Little does he know what's going on down there. I want nothing to do with his girlfriend, so just give me the hat so I can block her. Well, unfortunately, Nelson got wind of this and was betrayed by his teammate Noah Halliday, and I felt kind of bad. But I guess we can make it right by trying to have him join our team in our backfield where he has a chance to be our starting running back. Both of the players who left us in the portal this year are actually interested in coming back. Dalen Johnstone has us in first, but there were guys with double-digit sacks last year. I'd rather them. For Nick Witherspoon, our other transfer, it's the same deal. He wants to come back, but Tyrone Chance had 10 sacks in the SEC last year. Obviously, I'm going to choose that over Witherspoon. As I look at the roster, I think we really need to build the trenches. Offensive and defensive line, to me, are 2 very big needs. I think linebackers a need. I think running backs a need. I think safeties a need. And I think tight ends a need. And then everything else is kind of a bonus from there. Probably want to get another receiver, maybe a developmental quarterback, probably some extra corners. I mean, really everywhere I'm looking to upgrade. But I think running back, tight end, both lines, linebacker, and safety are the positions that I especially have my eye on. Most of the players here are 3 stars, and most of them have interest in our program, with the exception of a couple who I just really wanted to target. There are some 4 stars, and of course the 5-star corner. I've got to give it a shot with Marcus Branch, even though I think it's pretty unlikely with all the big schools who are going to want him, but it's worth a shot. Most of the 4 stars are on defense, pretty much all DBs, a couple of linebackers as well. So I offered everyone a scholarship except for these 4 because I do not have enough NIL for them, but I'm going to give them the maximum amount of points and give them scholarships next week. Otherwise, this is how I'm going to use my points. I don't want to give these guys a lot of points yet. I want to figure out which players we're going to have to compete for, which players are we going to get pretty easily, and then kind of go from there and build the board up that way. I want to compete for as few players as possible because I recognize the 4 and 5 stars are probably not going to be so easy to get. Marcus Branch, though, I'm going all in for. I'm just going to give him the maximum amount of points right away and the exact scholarship he wants. Transfers, if you want to go to the NFL, this is the place to be. We just had 10 players get drafted, at least 1 in every round of the draft. 9 of them we got through the portal. Calabodi is the only player who played his entire career at Delaware. I looked at some of the other big programs. Alabama only had 4. Georgia had less than us. Ohio State had less than us. Even the national champions, USC, I think only had 8 or 9. As far as I know, we had more players get drafted than any program in the entire country. As I simulate the week, doesn't seem like a lot of these guys are in first, but nobody locked us out, so I guess that's a good sign. A lot of these players are already down to 5 schools, so these recruiting battles are going to move very quickly. Marcus Branch, the 5-star, we are in third for. The only freshman we still have left on the board is Colin Payne. It's close with us in Iowa. I'm going to keep trying because I think we can make it happen. I think we're putting a little more influence in than them, even though they're ahead of us. Now, some of these guys I'm not trying to compete for. We're not going to beat out Indiana for a third-string quarterback. But most of these skill position players really are not getting much interest. Some of these really great players like Tyrone Chance, a defensive tackle, Muhammad Senior, and Joseph Dunbar McGee. Those three guys had double-digit sacks last year. All the skill position guys we want at running back and wide receiver don't have any other scholarships. I wasn't planning on adding 5 running backs and 3 receivers, but I'll take it. Now, for these highly ranked players, these battles are quite competitive. For Marcus Branch, we're probably not going to win, but we're in the mix. For a few of these guys, I still want to offer them scholarships. The problem is we only have 25 NIL points, and 3 of these guys are in very intense battles. So I'm going to think a little bit creatively, because I really want to go after these players. I recognize we don't need 3 receivers. I still want these guys, but if I take Miles Johnson and Evan Langford's NIL off of their scholarships and then put it back on later, I think we can get them. There's no other schools going after these 2 players. So even though we're going to fall behind in their races because they're not going to like our scholarships anymore, we can give them back the NIL they want in a few weeks once we know which of these good players are going to come here and which ones won't. So 3 of those 4 I'm going to offer scholarships to. D'Imperio, I don't need to right now. I'm going to wait until the final week. We also have a lot of guys ready for visits. We can do 4 over each of the next 3 weeks. With Marcus Branch, I want to get this over with now. I would like to figure out as soon as possible if we are going to get him, so he's going to come in this week. I want to give him complimentary visits. That way we can make it as good as possible. We have an A-plus pitch with him, so I'm not going to have the other corners visit with him. Khalil Sandridge is going to come week 3, and Leon Minter I'm going to have come week 4. I'd rather the safeties and linebackers visit with Marcus Branch so we can have them all as complimentary visits. Tremaine Markick is going to come week 2. Stephen Moma is going to come week 2. Chadwick Cannon, a defensive tackle, is going to come week 2. All these really good defensive players who play different positions than each other are going to come during the same week. Hopefully those guys feel like they want to share a defense together. Otherwise, these are the close races right now, and these are the battles that we're really monitoring at the top, the guys who are down to 5 schools. Luckily, a lot of them have really good pitches. Now that we're a pretty good program, most of these guys have A and B grade deal breakers for pretty much all of their desires, which is great. It means we can really go out and get some of these top players. I'm also specifically prioritizing the players who don't have us at the top of their list. If we're in first place and the only scholarship for some of these transfer players, then why waste points into them? We don't really need to. As we simulate the week, a couple guys are starting to lock us out, and we're starting to get a lot more clarity on where we stand in some of these races. Eric DeMercado, I can live with that. Tremaine Markick, that's unfortunate. And Colin Payne is going to Iowa. I kind of thought we were going to land him. But we are in first place for Khalil Sandridge, who's visiting this week. I think we're going to get him. Marcus Branch is in second, so maybe it can still happen. I don't really know. A lot of these other guys, meanwhile, are now down to 5. So we're going to take all the guys who have locked us out off the board. And luckily, that opens a lot of NIL for us that we can put back into those 2 receivers. Miles Johnson and Evan Langford have taken us off their list. But if I edit the scholarship, give Miles Johnson, for instance, what he wants and give him a bunch of points, we should retake the lead. And we're going to do that again with Evan next week. In terms of these really good corners, we're in the mix for Marcus Branch. He visits Oklahoma this week, so I think it's unlikely, but I feel like I've got to try. He's the number 2 player in the transfer portal. Khalil Sandridge, I think we're in a good spot for. He's visiting this week. We're probably going to get him. In terms of our other visits, I'm going to have Jason Priester, tight end from Alabama. He played well against us in the playoff game. He's going to come next week. Jack Utz is going to visit this week. I really want to get one of those 2. Guard Ben Katz. UL Monroe really likes him. I'm going to have him visit this week. I'm going to take Ramon Pacheco off the board. I don't really want to deal with that battle. I think I'm going to have safety Quentin Bibbs visit this week, mainly because I'm petty and I don't want him to go to Missouri because I don't really like Missouri. And then those other guys I'm not going to offer right now. In terms of the players who are down to 5 or less, again, we have ideal pitches on pretty much everyone, and I'm giving most of these guys a lot of points. For the guys who visited in week 2, we have pretty big leads on them, but I think I'm going to continue to give them points just to be safe. We also have 5 open spots left on our board. In case we don't get those 2 tight ends, I think we need to get another tight end or 2, because right now I think we only have 1 on the entire roster. So I'm going to look to add some depth at tight end, particularly guys who we're already in first place for. That way I don't have to use points on them, because I don't really have points available. This is how we're going to use our spending in week 3. These offensive linemen are really starting to get sought after, so we're going to have to really start to prioritize them along with the linebackers and defensive backs that seemingly cost a lot. But I think we're in a pretty good spot. There's a lot of good players who want to come here. We have really good visits so far with the guys who came last week. We're going to hopefully have really good visits this week, and we're going to figure out if Marcus Branch is coming or not. That way, if he doesn't choose to come here, we're going to open up 200 Dynasty points to spend. Cornerback Khalil Sandridge is joining our program. I would imagine he's going to be a redshirt sophomore, a guy who could easily start for us, I would think, this year. That's a big get. Now, unfortunately, we lost out on some players. Marcus Branch is going to Oklahoma. Unfortunate, but we did everything we could. Leon Minter's going to Minnesota. He was supposed to visit this week, and Ben Katz visited this past week. What caught me off guard is the 2 edge rushers we're no longer in first place for. I kind of figured they were locks, but now they're not, which sucks because edge is a huge need for us, and we don't really have a backup plan. I assumed we were going to get those 2 guys who had double-digit sacks last year. Let's talk about those receivers real quick. Now that we've opened up a lot of points, we're back in first place for Miles Johnson, so the plan worked. And now we're going to do the exact same for Evan Langford. And I would suspect that we're going to end up getting both of these players after switching around the timing of their scholarships. Trenton D'Imperio we can now offer, and we still have 140 points left over, which I'll discuss shortly. I really want to get these 2 edge rushers. It sucks that, we're no longer in first place. We can really only offer one of them a visit, though, because if we offer both of them, they're going to be competitive visits, and that's going to hurt both of them. So I think I'm only going to offer the one a visit. And then in terms of my other spots, Ramon Donnerson at offensive tackle. We already offered one of the tight ends a visit, so I only have one spot left. I ended up going with the guard, Ricky Rasmussen. So now we're out of visits, but we still have some hours to spend. I'm going to really put my points into these edge rushers, but not Jalen Wicks. I don't think we're going to get him, but I really want those other guys. At tight end, Jason Priester's visiting this week. Jack Utz came last week, and we're still losing, so I think it's kind of over for him. I don't think we're going to get the tight end Rochelle. I'm going to take him off the board. So now that means we have 9 open spots left. Since we only have 26 guys to begin with, I'm playing it safe with a lot of these competitive battles. Even though I think it's likely we're going to get the guys who visited a couple of weeks ago, like the defensive tackle Cannon and the linebacker Moma, I'm not going to risk it. I'm putting points into them still because those battles are close enough to where one of those schools could pass us. But we still have 9 slots, and we still have exactly 45 recruiting hours. And I choose that number intentionally because we need to fill out the rest of the board. We only have 3 commitments so far. Luckily, we can offer 9 players scholarships because a scholarship is 5 hours. 5 times 9 is 45. So I want to pick 9 players who are in first place for us in the portal. So these are the 9 I'm choosing. 8 of them we're in first for. We have enough NIL for pretty much everybody, which is good. But quarterback Darian Shembo, we're only in third for. So I'm going to take some points off of the other guys and put 15 into him. So now our board is full. We're out of hours, but we still have 25 NIL points left. So why had those go to waste? We might as well up the NIL packages for these 2 edge rushers just to try to get anything to boost our offer because I really want these 2 edge rushers because that's a very big position of need for us. So now we're out of dynasty points, we're out of spots on the board, we're out of scholarships, we're out of recruiting hours. We've done all we can, and it's time to simulate the week and see who's coming. We'll start with linebacker Trenton D'Imperio from North Dakota State, 3-year starter. He's going to be a big piece for our defense. George Beckford, good depth at tight end. George Chukwura, he's going to be a depth running back for us. Maybe he could start next year. Jameer Yates will be one of our top running backs this year. Noah Hale, good depth at edge. Evan Langford at wide receiver. We do end up landing him, even though we took the scholarship off. Dennis Moses, depth at tackle. Antonio Eagles, depth at running back. Kyle Metzlar is a developmental receiver who I think could start next year. Clay Maryland will develop at running back. Brendan Branson could play a pretty big role on defense. Nelson Wheeler, Mr. Steal Your Girl. He will probably be our other starter at running back. Tyrone Chance, double-digit sacks at Arkansas. Miles Johnson, another receiver to join the room. Jeremiah Denson, a talented young sophomore corner. Stephen Moma at linebacker, one of the 4-stars. We went after him and Chadwick Cannon really hard. Wake Forest wanted both of those guys, but we beat the Demon Deacons out. Michael Smoker at center. Ricky Rasmussen at guard. A lot of offensive linemen. But we also lost on a lot of guys. We landed a number of our priority targets, but we missed on quite a few. Quentin Bibbs to Missouri. Both of the two edge rushers are not coming here, which is really unfortunate. We lost out on the quarterback Shembo. We lost out on a few offensive linemen. Kamari Bing, who we just added at safety, he probably would have been a starter for us, but he's going to Indiana. Luckily, we didn't offer those players a ton of NIL points, so we really don't have that many left, which means we made good use of what we had. But it is a smaller class this year. It's still a good one. 38th overall, 22 players, 2 4-stars, and 23 stars. Only 2 freshmen and 20 transfer players. That's basically an entire starting lineup. We also missed out on Bryce Khaled, the edge rusher. We missed out on Jason Priester, the tight end. So who the hell is going to start at tight end for us? And who's going to start at edge? Our roster is extremely unbalanced in terms of depth. We only have 4 edge rushers. We have a billion linebackers, though. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it gets even worse. We only have 2 quarterbacks. We only have 2 tight ends. But we have about 17 running backs, which was our biggest position of need. Now we have too many. Luckily for our edge problem, a lot of these linebackers can play edge. I thought about moving DeMarco Daniels. He has very good pass rush ratings, but I kind of want to keep him as the Mike linebacker. So we're going to move Julius Puryear, Brendan Branson. Those guys are going to go to edge. And then we're going to balance out our other linebacker positions with Stephen Moma and Trenton D'Imperio, a couple of our new transfer players, to the outside linebacker spots. Jake Simonson, one of our 2 true freshmen, I know he's listed as a linebacker, but to me, he's a safety. Now, we have too many safeties, which is kind of an issue. Paulo Anderson, when we got him last year, I knew I wanted him to play corner. So we are going to have him play corner this year. 6'2", can run, he can cover. Josh Tripucka, I'm going to move back to safety. Jamerson Forte, I'm going to slide over to safety. And now our defensive problems look a lot better. We're way more balanced on this side of the ball, and I think the defense is in a good spot. We have a lot of good young players. Remember that 4-star transfer, Khalid Sandridge? He's lower than I thought. He's only a 75. But he's a true sophomore, and he has elite development trait. Our first ever elite dev player in the entire series. No wonder he was ranked so high as a 75. So we've balanced out our defense, but how can I balance out the offense? It's a lot harder to move guys' positions on offense. We only have 2 quarterbacks. That's kind of a problem. I thought about moving some of these running backs to QB. Antoine Tutt, for instance, is a 69, but he only has like 14 throw power, so it doesn't really matter. What I did find interesting is that Nelson Wheeler has 91 throw power, and his accuracy ratings are kind of solid. However, he's worse across the board than Vi Zambrano, so if we were moving him there, it would be moving him as a backup, and I want him to potentially start at running back. Him and Jahmyr Yates are the 2 best running backs on the team. So as much as he would be a pretty good QB, we wouldn't be starting him. So I feel like it's kind of pointless. I guess he'll be our emergency quarterback in case something happens to one of the 2 already on the roster. Now it's time for the fun. Training results. I'm very curious to see what this team looks like because on paper, I always kind of figured we were going to be a little worse than last year with all the seniors gone. We are going to get some development trade increases for linebacker DeMarco Daniels, well-deserved. Cornerback Leon Irvin, he was really good in the slot last year. I kind of want to keep him in the slot, even though he projects to be our highest-rated corner. Okay, there you go. So not a ton of huge jumps at the top, although Derek Schott goes up 8. That's not a surprise. Whoa, plus 10 for Dorian Childress. Sandridge only got plus 4, which is kind of disappointing for elite dev. But Schott with a big increase, I'm not surprised. Dorian Childress, though, is crazy. He was a 1-star recruit. He was like a 55 overall. And he has worked his absolute tail off to become really good. His ratings are really impressive. Plus 10 change of direction. Plus 20 awareness. He has 99 zone coverage. And 99 play recognition. We have to get this guy on the field. He's really good. In terms of the other positions, Vi Zambrano only goes up 1. I'm a little disappointed. Dickens up 3. Yates and Wheeler at running back look pretty good. At receiver, Corbin Glasgow is at 90 and RJ Mosley is an 89. And we've got some good depth here. Miles Johnson is 99 speed. I thought Cheeseman was going to start, but with the additions of Langford and Johnson, he'll probably have to wait until next year. The rest of the offense looks solid. I think the offensive line will be okay. All 5 of our starters were on the team last year, many of whom did start for us a season ago. The edge room, I think, is going to be okay. I was a little worried after we struck out on everyone in the portal, but the defensive line looks good. Tyrone Chance, I think, is going to be a great addition. At linebacker, I think we're going to be good. Daniels is an 88. D'Imperio is a high 80. Polo Anderson at corner is an 88. Jamerson Forte takes a big leap at safety. We don't have the star power that we used to at safety with guys like Cameron Hamill and KT Say and others, but I think we'll be deep enough in the secondary to where we will be okay. We only have 69 players on the roster, which I guess makes sense. We lost a lot of seniors and had a smaller recruiting class in terms of quantity, so we don't have to cut anyone. What about custom conferences? We went into the American and dominated. We won every conference game. And we're clearly the highest rated team here. Memphis is a 75. They did spook us twice. Tulane's a 78. But we're in the 90s. I know we've only been here for 1 year, but I think in order to keep the series fresh and entertaining, we need a challenge in the ACC or the Big Ten. And at this point, I think our team is Big Ten caliber. I mean, according to these ratings, we're right on par with a lot of the best teams in this conference. So we're going to play in the Big Ten this year. Power conference football against some of the best teams in the country. We've had such easy schedules in this series. Whoa, we're number 4. Welcome to the Big Ten, folks. We're also a 96 overall. I thought we would go down in rating because of the lack of balance we have on our roster, or at the very least, be not much higher than a 90, 91, 92. 96 is crazy, and we have a top 5 ranking. They're expecting us to come into the Big Ten and compete right away. This conference is loaded, but the rankings committee believes that we're going to be part of the reason why it's loaded. So now that we're 5 years into the future, a lot of these teams don't have all their non-conference games decided. For Delaware, I think they've only chosen 2, and one of them, ironically, is against Indiana, who's now in our conference. Obviously, we can't play them in the non-con. This is the default schedule. I'll make some changes and adjust it within the next couple of minutes. But the first thing I want to point out is that by moving to the Big Ten, our conference prestige is now really high, which gives us more dynasty points. We're now at 5,410. Being in the Big Ten and being a 3-star prestige, we went up by a full star rating last year. We're now going to have good prospects who want to come here. Like, I'm talking about 4 stars and even a 5-star linebacker, Keegan Smith. We have over 4,000 dynasty points to spend in terms of scholarships and NIL. That is a lot. So I ended up putting a second 5-star on the board. The number 1 quarterback in the class, J.J. Bayer. He looks really good. I assume it's unlikely, but it's worth a shot. This guy looks awesome. 6'4", heck of an arm, really accurate already. The other 5-star, Keegan Smith, is a gem. 91 speed, 91 acceleration. This guy looks like a monster. The number 1 running back, Oscar Eddy, wants to come here, but he is a bust with 82 speed. Luckily, the rest of the 4 stars that want to come here look really good. Safety Terrell Warren is a gem. Guard Jarius Gainwell is a gem. Cornerback Rico Dubs is a gem. We lose our streak with Deshaun Hoker, unfortunately, but a bunch of gems here. Linebacker Carl Rayberg, gem. That's like 4 at this point. There are some very good players on the recruiting board. I think, unlike the first 4 seasons of the series, we're going to have a very different approach to recruiting. We need to take high school recruiting more seriously because there are some very good players here who I think could stick around for quite some time. I don't think we're going to have 2 or 3 high school players per class anymore. I think we're going to focus more on high school and a little bit less on the transfer portal. What about our schedule? This is what we're going to be rocking with. 6 of our 12 games are against ranked opponents, so buckle in. For the first matchup of the year, I really want revenge on James Madison. They're one of our main rivals. We're 0-2 against them in this series. I'd love to get back. The game suggested we play Boise State. I think that'd be fun. They nearly made the playoffs last year, but I think the game was originally scheduled to be at home. If we're playing Boise State, it's got to be on the road, right? So that's going to be week 2. I wanted an SEC team, so I chose Arkansas for no other real reason than they're a solid SEC team. Then our in-conference schedule starts on the easier side with Rutgers, Purdue, and UCLA, but they're all on the road. And then look at this stretch. Michigan, number 5. Minnesota, who's ranked number 12. Iowa's never a gimme. USC on the road. They're number 3. We get another crack at Memphis, and then we finish off the year at home against number 2, Ohio State. 5 of our last 6 games are against ranked opponents. Now, we do have 7 home games, which is part of the benefit of being in the Big Ten rather than the 6th we've had previously. I do like that. Next up, it's time to meet the roster. A lot of new faces and a handful of familiar faces on both sides of the ball. I do want to shout out the redshirt seniors. We've got about a half a dozen. These are the guys who were on the roster since day one. There's only a couple of guys who we had in episode 1, who I guess would have been redshirted that first year, who have made it through the test of time and are still here in Season 5. The final OG players left on the Delaware roster. These guys have managed to stick it out, and a lot of them are going to play pretty big roles this year. Guys like Kevin Moore on the defense, DeMarco Daniels at Mike linebacker. We've got Miles Muldrow at offensive tackle. Jeremy Hurd had that one game 2 years ago where he had like 4 sacks. Hasn't really done anything else, but still. Let's start with the quarterback position. So we decided not to go after a quarterback in the transfer portal. We felt okay with Vi Zambrano being our starter, largely because he already has experience. As a redshirt freshman, he was the starter at Kennesaw State. We played against him that year in the Conference USA. I felt like he was probably the third best quarterback in the conference after Steele Pizzella and Carson Boyd. Isn't that ironic? I like Zambrano's game quite a bit. He's now a redshirt junior with an extra year as a backup behind Boyd. 6'4", 205 pounds. His arm is much stronger than that of Steele Pizzella and Carson Boyd. I think physically he's a little bit more similar to Nick Minicucci in that sense. His accuracy across the board is really solid. He's pretty fast, 88 speed, 88 acceleration, so he can move. He's a dual threat, but he's got a stronger arm than the guys we've had previously. Eric Dickens, I think, is a great backup, but we don't have anybody behind those two. The running back room, of course, looks quite different, and that includes Nelson Wheeler. He doesn't really have much game with the ladies, but he has plenty of game on the football field. I think he's going to be our pass-catching back, a guy who outside the tackles and open space is a really dynamic player. And then you've got Jameer Yates. He's large, 6'2", 230 pounds. He's the much bigger of the two backs. He's the faster of the two backs, and he's certainly the stronger of the two. I think he's going to be our early down runner and get a lot of the touches in the red zone. With those two guys, I think we're going to see some of the other guys get some occasional reps. I think George Chukwurua is going to get some reps, especially in short yardage situations. And who knows, maybe some of these other guys will get some reps as well. But Yates and Wheeler will certainly be the main two. At wide receiver, we return our top two guys in Corbin Glasgow and R.J. Mosley. Glasgow was largely a depth piece last year, although he had some reps when R.J. Mosley got injured, and he was pretty good. He's now a 90 overall and will become the next really good Delaware receiver, hopefully. Him and R.J. Mosley, who stuck around, Noah Halliday's close friend. Mosley's now in his third season with our program. He's been really good over the last 2 years, but he's also missed quite a bit of time in both seasons due to injury, which is certainly something to keep an eye on for him going into this year. Luckily, we've got good depth with Evan Langford, who we landed in the portal. He's bounced around at a few different schools. And then Miles Johnson started his career at Arkansas, played at Arizona last year. This guy has 99 speed. I am really excited to see how he can make an impact for us on offense or even on special teams, because we've never had a player with his explosiveness and his breakaway speed on our offense before. So even though he's technically the fourth receiver here, we're certainly going to find a role for him. I'm also excited for Terrell Cheeseman, even if it's going to take a little bit more time for him to find the field. I really think next year him and Kyle Metzlars could easily be starters with our 4 top receivers all as seniors. George Trzili takes over as the tight end, and then the offensive line returns 4 starters from last year. Clint Hrnkovich, the only new starter, was in our program last year as a backup. The defense is certainly going to look a lot different. We'll start in the back end. Kevin Moore returns, one of our longtime veterans. Zayden McDonald, I think, is going to see more run. Jamerson Forte, Josh Tripucka, I think those guys are going to probably get our primary reps at safety. Again, not quite as star-studded as the past, but still a solid room. I'm really excited, though, about the corners. I think we've got a really good set of corners in the short term, but also the long term. We start, of course, with Polo Anderson in his second season with the program, coming from Clemson. He played safety last year opposite of Cameron Hamill, and Hamill was certainly the headline name, but Polo Anderson is no slouch himself. When we got him, though, as a recruiting prospect, I always liked him more at corner. But with Jamarian-Calabodi and DJ Kelly, it didn't really make sense to have him there. Now, it does make sense, and he's going to be our top corner on the outside. I think Leon Irvin and Derek Schott are probably more of slot guys, better on the inside. I think they're both going to see reps on the outside, but in nickel and dime packages, that's where those two are really going to shine. And then Dorian Childress, he's got to find the field with all the improvement that he's made over the last few years. Are you kidding me? Khalik Sandridge, meanwhile, I thought he was going to be a starter. We're probably going to redshirt him. But with elite development, I mean, the ceiling is really high. I like the linebacking core with new additions like Stephen Moma and Trenton D'Imperio. DeMarco Daniels, though, is still the leader of the group. He's really developed since the start of the series, and over the last couple of seasons, last year especially, he really took on a big role and impressed me. Tyrone Chance, a defensive tackle, double-digit sacks last year at Arkansas. He'll lead the way up front with guys like Branson and the veteran Cole Carmichael in his 4th year with the program. We only have 1 returning team captain. That's Mosley, so we have to name 5 new ones. We'll go with Vi Zambrano, Nelson Wheeler, because I feel bad, DeMarco Daniels, Paulo Anderson, and then I gave Cole Carmichael a New Jersey number. He's going to take Calabote's number 18, and he is our 6th and final team captain. What are our athletic director's expectations? Win a bowl game in the next 4 years. Wow, I see we're really setting the bar high for the 4th-ranked program in the country. With these 2 5-stars, I'm going to go off the rails. I'm giving them the maximum amount of NIL points I can. Bear's getting 470, and Keegan Smith is getting 330. I know this seems crazy, but we have NIL points to throw around. We're probably not going to get them, but it's worth a shot. Whoa! This guy committed already. Cedric Dicker, defensive tackle. That caught me off guard. Okay. Welcome to the program, Cedric. That's really exciting. Whoa, we have 2 commitments. Running back, Alonzo Coffey as well, another highly ranked 3-star, who honestly, even as the 51st ranked running back, I think he's better than the number 1 ranked running back, who we also have on the board. Everybody else, we're going to hand out our points to like this. But that's so exciting, getting 2 insta-commits. I remember in the NCAA 14 series I had at the beginning of the season, offering players insta-commits. That was like the biggest adrenaline rush ever. Now we get to do that again. I forgot that was in the game, I'll be honest. Now we move into week 1 as we get set for our first matchup of the year against James Madison. I do want to talk about recruiting again quickly because it looks like we have a lot of influence on the 2 5-stars because our scholarship offer is so gigantic for both of them. So this could actually happen for these 2 guys. We're going to continue to pile in as many points as we can. So let's discuss James Madison. They beat us in year 2. They beat us in year 3. We played embarrassingly in both of those games. Things are a little different. They're a 62, we're a 96. So I would like to think this is our get-right game. This should be the easy one on paper, but you never know. They have Kenny Galladay's long-lost brother, Kevin, at wide receiver. Bryce Burks, redshirt junior, is the quarterback. Solid arm, can run a little bit. But this is the worst team on the schedule this year. This should be our get-right game. We do have 3 non-power conference opponents, but 2 of them, Boise State and Memphis, are 2 of the best non-power conference teams in the entire country. James Madison, not so much. It's still a little bit personal for us, though, after losing in seasons 2 and 3. Most of the guys from those rosters are gone, but a handful of them are still here. So hopefully they remember what James Madison did to us in our building a couple years ago, along with the other game when Steel Pizzella kept turning it over. Well, let's get this show on the road, though. Season 5 of the Delaware Dynasty begins. We start the year ranked number 4 as a 96 overall in the Big Ten. The playoffs are no longer the expectation. This team, on paper, ratings-wise, should be competing to win the whole thing. They're down in 7. That pass is broken away in the secondary. That's Dorian Childress, the former 1-star prospect, who's finally getting some real playing time. I'm excited for him. He deserves it. Jameer Yates, the transfer from Washington State, he is big. I mean, that's the first thing I noticed when he got the ball there. He is a large human being at running back, 6'2", 230. It's like having Derrick Henry back there. On 3rd down, Zambrano, he's got Miles Johnson, the speedster, who gets the first down. Played last year at Arizona. His first 2 seasons he was at Arkansas. On 1st down, Zambrano looks to throw it, flushes to the left side, under pressure on the run. It is caught. It's the tight end, George Terzili, who gets it inside the 5, and now will look to punch it in and strike first. It's Yates, walks the red carpet into the end zone for a Delaware touchdown. And the Blue Hens strike first as it's 7-0. Good start. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. Here's JMU for drive number 2. Bryce Burks, the redshirt junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, on 3rd down and 10. Surveys the field, and it's tipped and incomplete. A couple guys, including Trenton D'Imperio, the transfer from North Dakota State, making the play. So James Madison will punt it. We've got Miles Johnson with his 99 speed back deep to return. Here is Johnson, has a block, gets another. Johnson finds room. Miles Johnson, you're not beating him in a foot race. 15-10, 5, touchdown! And Delaware adds to the lead at the end of the first quarter. Miles Johnson's speed is going to be so exciting for this team on offense and on special teams. We have not had anybody who's been able to run like this guy can. You're not catching up to him. When he's in open space, it's 14-0 into the second quarter. We're down in 5. Bryce Burks under a little pressure. That one is caught, and plenty of room after the catch. Not quite enough for the first down, but he was close. It's Lloyd Stauffer, the junior running back, and they're going to go for it. 4th down and inches. What did the Dukes have in store here? They've got to get this. They don't want this game to really fall out of control. As Burks goes short, it is caught by Zach Eason, who takes a shot but holds on to the ball for the first down. On 3rd now, it's a run up the middle. Eason does not get the first. Good tackle by Derek Schott, the redshirt sophomore at corner. They're going to go for it again. This time it's a 4th and 4, a little bit tougher. This time Burks is under center. He will look to throw it. Burks' pass is caught, and again the receiver's able to hold on to the ball. Not an easy play, but a good job there by Terrence Sun to hold on. 3rd down and long for James Madison. They've had the ball the entire quarter. We're nearing the 2-minute timeout. Burks under pressure, fumbles the ball, and it's scooped up by Delaware. It's Stephen Moma. He's got plenty of room, and they will not catch him. A scoop and score. Delaware adds to the lead. Brendan Branson, the transfer who we threw on during the final week just to add some depth. He's now a starter as an edge rusher, and he gets a strip sack here in the first half. Moma, another one of our transfers, recovers it and takes it to the house. And we've got the trifecta, an offensive, a defensive, and a special teams touchdown. On 2nd, that one is caught. Another fumble! And it's picked up by the defense. Derek Schott recovers. Tyrone Chance, the defensive tackle, forces it out. And for the first time in the second quarter, we have the ball. Zambrano on 2nd down under pressure takes a bad sack. And we're going to use a timeout. That'll make it 3rd down and long. We haven't really gotten to see the offense seemingly at all today. I can't really make any conclusions about Zambrano. He's got an open receiver down the field, but he completely misses the throw. He was wide open. Got to make that pass. So that'll bring out the field goal team. Brendan Flavors, the junior, back as our kicker. This one is from around 46, and it is right down the middle. Delaware goes into halftime with a big lead, 24-0. Again, though, I can't really make any conclusions about the offense because we've barely been on the field. Our special teams and defensive touchdown held us away from the ball for at least 10 minutes. But we were up 24-0, so it's hard to complain. We do start with it in the second half, so we can finally see these guys in action. Zambrano on 1st down, scrambles to the right side. He's got room to run, and he can scramble. Inside the 10, out of bounds. Don't want him taking hits, especially in a game like this where we're up by so much. 2nd and goal, Zambrano hit hard, but he's got his man. It's Miles Judson, his 2nd touchdown of the game. And Delaware adds to the lead, 31-0. JMU has it back, 3rd and 7. Final play of the 3rd. Burks looks to scramble up the middle, but Trenton D'Imperio had nearly 100 tackles last year at North Dakota State. Brings him down, and they're going to go for it again. 4th down and 5. Couple of 4th down conversions back in the 2nd. Burks under pressure, and he is sacked. DeMarco Daniels makes the play, and we're going to bring the backups in. We're in a pretty good spot at this point. Short throw is caught. That's Evan Langford, who will not get the first on the pass by Eric Dickens. Is it just me, or does he look just like Jalen Daniels? Same jersey numbers, same equipment. That's literally Jalen Daniels' twin. On 3rd down, the backup quarterback gets sacked. It is raining hard all of a sudden. And that's pretty much all she wrote. 31-0. I don't know why the weather turned so bad late, but it was certainly raining points from Delaware in the first half. We really did not get to see a lot of our starting offense, but we've got 11 more games, so we'll be fine. We had an offensive, defensive, and special team score in the first half, despite barely having the ball. I mean, every side of the ball was making plays. The team was really connected in unison, and it was a good win, even though we had less than 200 total yards and only 31 offensive plays. Not a lot. So I can't really make any conclusions off of our quarterback, Vi Zambrano. The backup, Eric Dickens, had basically the same amount of passing attempts as him. Zambrano looked fine. He had some misses, but he also had some good off-platform throws, so I'm intrigued. On the ground, nobody had more than 4 carries. Nelson Wheeler was hurt the whole game. We really didn't get to see him. But Miles Johnson definitely looked impressive with a punt return touchdown, and he also led the team in receiving. 4 catches, 51 yards, and a score. So he was really the one guy on offense who certainly stood out. Defensively, though, we played amazingly. We had a bunch of sacks. We forced some turnovers, 2 fumbles. I mean, really played well on that side of the ball, including the defensive touchdown by Stephen Moma. So we're 1-0. We finally beat our rivals, and we beat them pretty convincingly, but they're really the only easy game on the schedule. It's about to get really hard. It's not like the Conference USA or even the American. So we already have a bunch of recruits who are down to 5 schools, and this is why for my regular series, I usually like to pick power conference teams, because I think recruiting is just so much more interesting. When we were a bad program, recruiting was very dull. There was not really much movement. But now we're competing with the best programs, and it's all happening so fast. I think we have the most influence on J.J. Bayer, the 5-star. Georgia wants him, Miami wants him, but I feel like we have more influence because of our scholarship. We have a bunch of guys ready for visits, and luckily we've got Arkansas coming to town next week, along with 5 additional home games. We got to get the 5-star linebacker Keegan Smith in. I really want to make this happen with him. He looks like an absolute beast. So we're going to give him his ideal pitch. We already have determined, and it's a very good one, A+, A, and A-. And then he will come in week 3 for the Arkansas game. I read on Twitter yesterday that the number 1 deal breaker matters more than the other deal breakers, so I'm going to have him go with the A visit rather than the A+. Twitter's never had fake news before, so hopefully it's correct. 4-star corner Rico Dubs is going to come in week 3. Tight end Alex Gessner. We need tight end pretty badly. This is not a position of strength. And then the last spot I was kind of unsure about, but I think I'm going to go with edge rusher Stephen Falla. I thought about maybe one of these defensive linemen, but we don't really have a good deal breaker for Matthew Tobin. Whereas with Falla, he's got an A+ for conference prestige. So I know I'm getting him something that he likes. And maybe we can get Tobin to come in later. These other guys, I don't know if they're still going to be in the midst of their recruitment by the time we have our next home game, which isn't until week 7. But these are the 4 guys I'm going to choose to prioritize. We're going to continue to give the 2 5-stars a ton of points because I really think we can get both of them. And I think they can both change the program on each side of the ball. So Boise State, despite being a smaller school, they're an 85 overall. They're a good team. Now, they did lose their first game. They actually got shut out 27-0 against another team we're going to play against this year in Memphis. Tanner Applewhite, the redshirt senior, is the quarterback. Why does every quarterback on their team have such a strong arm? Applewhite is 97 throw power. He can really sling it. Should be a fun one, though, on the blue turf. We looked really good against James Madison, but with the special teams and defensive touchdowns, it's hard to really figure out if this offense is good. Are they not good? I really don't know. I think the most interesting dynamic about this game is that Boise State has already lost. So given that they've already dropped the game, they're already feeling a lot of pressure. And as the potential Group of 5 representative in the playoff, you cannot have too many losses to your name. We only had 1 last year, and we still barely got in over the likes of Boise State and Memphis, who, of course, we had to knock out ourselves in the conference championship. Now, Memphis and Delaware are obviously 2 very good teams, but if Boise State starts 0-2, that'd be a real problem for them, especially Memphis, given that those are literally the 2 best Group of 5 teams. The fact that they played against each other is really interesting and such a major momentum boost and resume boost for Memphis. So I feel like Boise State's really facing a lot of pressure. 3rd down, that one is hauled in. Corbin Glasgow not able to get the first down, and we're going to have to punt it away. I'm excited to see more Vi Zambrano because, again, last week, couldn't really make any conclusions. Here's Applewhite under pressure. He is wrapped up on the sack. The play is made by Stephen Mulma, who had the scoop and score a week ago. The redshirt junior, 4-star transfer. 2nd down, another sack for the defense. It's Tyrone Chance, who had 10 of those things last year at Arkansas. We'll get it back on offense, 2nd down. Here is Zambrano up the middle. Nice grab. And a good play after the catch for R.J. Mosley, who gets it to about the 20. 3rd down and 2 now for Delaware. Yates, the running back in the backfield. Zambrano looks to throw it under pressure. Hit as he throws. Nearly intercepted. We dodged a bullet. We're going to go for it. Here on 4th down and 2, about 30 seconds left in the quarter. It's Yates. Gets the first down up the middle to about the 5-yard line. I love this kid's power. I mean, he can really ram through dudes. Trying to punch it in the end zone to end the first. He cannot. We've got a big 4th down decision to start the 2nd quarter. We already got it once with Yates. Why not try it? Nope, it's a pass. And that one's caught. Terzili, can he break the edge? He does not. I'll be honest, I thought R1 was the slot receiver. So I clicked the wrong button. Sorry to break the 3rd wall. But Terzili gave a good effort there. He almost had the touchdown. 3rd and 1. That one is caught. Boise State's going to get it to about the 50-yard line. Lorenzo Garbett makes the play. Applewhite at the 2-minute timeout. Hoisted up, and it's intercepted. Kevin Moore, the redshirt senior, picks it off, and we'll get it back on offense, trying to get some points going into the break. This game is scoreless at the 2-minute timeout. Disgusting offense. Boise State, remember, didn't score last week, so they still have not scored all year. As Zambrano is brought down for a big loss. Our defense, meanwhile, pitched a shutout last week, so they have not allowed points all year. Zambrano on third down is just going to run with it, try to get some yards, not force a bad pass. Boise State's going to call the timeout, and they will try to score before the end of the half. We'll see if they can do it. They've got one timeout in about a minute. Third down and 10. Applewhite on the blitz. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Good play call by the Delaware defense. DeMarco Daniels with the pressure. And we'll get it back now. 19 seconds. Not a lot of time. Only one timeout. Zambrano up the middle. He's got Miles Johnson past the 30, and we're getting ourselves close to field goal range. Trying to hurry back to the line. Tick, 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 tick. 13 seconds. We've got one timeout in our back pocket. We got to use it smartly. Down to 10. We're going to run the ball with Yates. We're going to call the timeout. I think 6 seconds is enough time to take a shot for the end zone or throw it away and then kick a field goal. On second down, Zambrano. That's not what you're supposed to do. He fumbles the ball. We pick it up, but it's not going to matter because the clock runs out. Vi Zambrano needed to get rid of it just a split second quicker, but because it's a fumble, the play is live. It's a live ball, and we're going to go into halftime scoreless. Knotted up at 0. A massive strip sack by Ben Rudder, who rips the ball away. So Boise State now has it in the third in a scoreless game. 3rd and 8, under pressure is Applewhite. His pass is tipped and picked off. It's intercepted in the back end. It's Jamerson Forte with the interception for Delaware. And we'll get it back on offense, taking advantage of the tip ball. Forte was part of our very first recruiting class. He's been a depth corner over the last 3 years. Now it's safety getting some run. That one is intercepted by Boise State, and they'll get it right back. Terrence Dicker with the interception. Nobody wants to score. We're going into the fourth quarter with this game still tied at 0. Will somebody put points on the board? Boise State literally has not scored all year. Another sack for the Delaware defense. We're just dominating right now on this side of the ball. It's Bryce Robinson. 3rd and 21. It's a screen. Actually, a pretty good play by Boise State, but they will not get the first down with the running back, Nate Corker. We've got it back on offense. 6 to go. Still scoreless. Zambrano fumbles it again. Luckily, we're there to pick it up. That was Rudder again, his second strip sack of the game. 2nd and 18 now with 5.5 to go. Here's Miles Johnson. Gets by the defender. You're not catching him. Miles Johnson, touchdown Delaware. A 45-yard score to put the Blue Hens ahead. It took 3.5 quarters for somebody to score. Finally! And it's who else but Miles Johnson, who already has 3 all-purpose touchdowns this year. This guy looks awfully good. I am really impressed. That 99 speed is very visible when you watch him run on the field. He has been very responsible for our offensive success this year. 2nd down for Boise State. Applewhite on the run. He's picked off for a 3rd time. This Delaware defense is making plays left and right. Zayden McDonald with the interception. We'll get it back again. 2nd down for the offense, under 3 to go. Jameer Yates looking for a block. He gets it. Yates past the 30. Big run for Delaware, trying to get some insurance points. Not that we're probably going to need them with how our defense is played. Zambrano scrambles. Nice run on 3rd and 4. Keeping the drive alive for a first down. Nearing the 2-minute timeout. It's Yates up the middle. Jameer Yates cannot hurdle the defender, but he's in anyway. Touchdown Blue Hens. 14-0 lead. Boise State gets it back, just hoping their offense doesn't go out embarrassingly. As Applewhite hoisted up on the run, and it is caught! That'll do. 51 yards for Denton Strauss. Applewhite again. That one is caught. Lorenzo Garbett to about the 1. Oh, now the Boise State offense wants to look good. 1st and goal. Applewhite end zone. Picked off again. Jamerson Forte's 2nd of the game. And for those counting at home, that's 4 for the Delaware defense. We win this game 14-0. That was disgusting. I'm sorry for everyone who had to watch that for the last, 6 or 7 minutes. That was gross. It was gross for the 40 minutes that I played it, and I wish I had that time back. Dear God, our offense looked horrible. Thank goodness for Miles Johnson, and thank goodness for the defense, who through 2 games has allowed 0 points. I don't think Boise State's going to be the Group of 5 representative. Their offense looks putrid. Applewhite picked off 4 times. Vi Zambrano was not great. He had an interception. He fumbled it twice. And he really was not that impressive as a passer otherwise. He had some good scrambles. He still only had 10 rushing yards because of the sacks. Jahmyr Yates looked good, at least. And then through the air, Miles Johnson had almost 100 yards and the big touchdown that finally broke the straw off the camel's back. Our other receivers have been a little quiet, though. I don't know if it's entirely their fault or the questionable quarterback play, but the defense, though, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions, Jamerson Forte with 2 of them. Really, really good showing by the defense, who has certainly carried the team through the first 2 weeks of the year. Let's move into week 3 now. We've got Arkansas coming up. Now, this matchup with the Razorbacks is interesting because I scheduled them really for no reason. But we actually have multiple players who have history with the program as we move up to number 3. We've got 4 prospects visiting this week. It's a huge week recruiting-wise because we're only first for one of them, being the 5-star Keegan Smith. Michigan took their scholarship off of him. Whoa! They're giving up. We're going too hard after him. And we have the lead for J.J. Bayer between Georgia and Miami. So we're probably going to get Smith. I don't have to put 50 points into him. I'll put 25 just to be safe. But we're probably going to get him. And then look at all the influence we have for Bayer. I don't know when or if he is going to visit. But, we're in a really good spot. Now, the one problem is one of his 3 interests is playing style, which is an F. So I'm not going to go hard sell yet because we don't have very many team passing yards. I expect that number to go up because week 1 we barely had to throw the ball. And then week 2 the passing game was putrid. So I would like to think that number will be a lot higher moving forward as we've got Arkansas here in week 3. The Hogs are 1-2. They also lost to Memphis, just like Boise State. They lost to Texas Tech. Both of those games very competitive, though. And then they beat FCS Northwest this past week. They're in 84, so in terms of overall talent, pretty equal to Boise State. These guys are quite good, and they have a double bye. And then at Bryant-Denny, good luck. So their top 2 players are centers, and their top 4 players are offensive linemen. So I don't know if our pass rush is going to be as good as they were last week. Oscar Ruggs, redshirt sophomore, leads the way at quarterback. Good arm, can move a little bit. He looks like a solid player, and he's got guys blocking for him for sure. I want to talk about this kid Miles Johnson, though, because he's been really impressive. And the fun storyline here is that he spent 2 years at Arkansas before going to Arizona. Now he's with us. He's been awesome, though. He's clearly been the best player on the team so far. He's not the only guy with Arkansas ties, though. Tyrone Chance had double-digit sacks with these guys last year. And as I mentioned a moment ago, it's ironic because I scheduled Arkansas not making the connection. I didn't even know Miles Johnson was at Arkansas at one point until later. So it was just a complete coincidence that we've got these 2 guys going up against their former team. But it's certainly a fun storyline, and the Hogs are no slouch. I mean, they played competitively against Memphis, which is relevant because Boise State scored 0 against Memphis. I think Boise State might just be pretty bad. Arkansas, though, looks quite a bit better, even though they're only 1-2. I'm not letting the record fool me. Ruggs on 3rd down. He's got one of the best offensive lines in the country. But we've got defensive backs who really know how to make plays. Leon Irvin with the tackle along with Bryce Robinson. We've got it back on offense. Hoping for a better game from Zambrano. He wasn't very good last week. Up the middle. That one is intercepted. It's Othia West who jumps the route from Glasgow. He's got a huge return, breaks a tackle, and is inside the 10. Our defense has not allowed any points the first 2 weeks of the year. Their streak is about to get ruined by the offense turning the ball over and giving Arkansas this field position. 3rd and goal. Ruggs on the run. It's caught at about the half-yard line. Close enough for Arkansas to go for it. 4th down and goal. They're about maybe a foot or 2 away from the end zone. Ruggs hands it off. Not a chance! DeMarco Daniels brings down the running back, Jamison Emery, a true freshman. We'll get it back on offense. It's still scoreless. Zambrano on 1st down. That one is hauled in. It's R.J. Mosley. So we've got a clean slate. The interception did not amount to any points. As we move into the second quarter, the game is still scoreless. 3rd and 7, Zambrano hit as he throws incomplete. To be fair to Zambrano, the offensive line has not been good at all so far this year. We're going to take the points. It's a long one, but it's good from 57 for Brendan Flavors, and it's 3-0. So we scored earlier than we did last week. Progress. They're going to run the ball on 3rd down. Emery does not get much. Trenton DiImperio makes the play. And we'll get it back on offense. Nelson Wheeler with room up the middle. Haven't really seen a ton of him so far, but I've liked the production that we've got when he's gotten the ball up to this point. And it seems like our offense is in a little more of the rhythm, even though we only have 3 points. Play action. Zambrano into traffic. Picked again. Othia West, his 2nd of the game. On the return, he gets it inside the 10 for a 2nd time. And Arkansas will get a second chance with this great a field position to score. Jamison Emery breaks through, and Arkansas is not going to screw it up a second time. The first points we've allowed all year, and it's not even the defense's fault. Another turnover by the offense, who continues to struggle. Third down, here's Miles Johnson wide open. Juke move, jukes another defender near the 40. We need Miles Johnson to save us. He's the only guy, him and maybe Jameer Yates are the only guys on the offense who have given us anything this year. Zambrano picked again! Third interception of the first half! Nick Fine, the senior safety, gets it to about the 40. And Vi Zambrano looks completely lost right now. I don't know what the deal with him is. Third down in inches. Here is Ruggs. That one is broken away in the secondary by Leon Irvin, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal. Manuel Montez on to kick this one. It's a 39-yarder to put the Hogs up by 7 with about 30 seconds left in the half. It's up, and it is good. It's now 10-3, and, well, there's a very clear finger we can point. The offense is entirely to blame for this start, and we're going to have to score before the end of the half as it's Terzili out of bounds at about the 45. We do have all 3 timeouts, so I guess all hope is not lost. 2nd and 10, Zambrano up the middle. That one is caught. It's Miles Johnson with the play, and he's a little bit shy of the 35, and we're going to use our first timeout with about 12 seconds left. On 1st and 10, Zambrano scrambles to the left side under pressure. Short pass is caught, doesn't get as much, and we're going to use another timeout with 6 seconds. Similar spot that we were in last week, and remember, Zambrano fumbled it. Now, the difference is we do have a timeout this time, so we can move quick and go down if needed. Zambrano will look up the middle for Johnson. Miles Johnson breaks away! Johnson, touchdown at the buzzer! And the legend of Miles Johnson continues! And this game is tied going into the break. I knew it was risky to not have him go down when there was 1 second on the clock. But I trusted with his speed, he was going to end up in the end zone. That ended up being a good decision. This kid is awesome. I think he is over 100 yards in this game. He scores on the most important play of the game. He saved our offense last week, and he just bailed us out again. This kid is awesome. So we've got a little momentum now going into the second half. Here's Nelson Wheeler up the middle. We've got to establish the run game. I don't even think we've been bad running the ball, but given the inconsistencies with the pass, we've got to find a way to really get it going. Yates in the backfield now, a little bit inside the 40. A motion man, it's Miles Johnson. Any way we can get him the ball. Johnson in space! Johnson with an entourage to the end zone! Touchdown, Delaware! Miles Johnson is unstoppable! And it's 17-10 in favor of the Blue Hens. This kid is single-handedly putting the entire offense on his back. Arkansas back with it. Ruggs up the middle. Picked off. Kevin Moore. Second consecutive week with an interception. And now things are starting to come together for Delaware. It took us a little bit, but that first score by Johnson really propelled us. As he loses about 3. Okay, that time it didn't really work out so much. But he's got like 160 yards in this game at this point. 2nd and 13. Here's Zambrano on the run. It is broken away. Receiver was wide open. I mean, his accuracy is just not good. 3rd down and 13. Zambrano goes short. Bad pass. Corbin Glasgow only gets 6. But with the field position, I decided to be aggressive. Keep the offense on the field. Zambrano looking for Johnson, who makes the catch! When in doubt, find Miles Johnson, as Zambrano is hurt on the play. And Eric Dickens is now in at quarterback. Play action. Dickens rolls out, has a wide open receiver. Miles Johnson probably should have thrown it earlier, but Johnson still makes another really tough catch. 3rd and goal. Jameer Yates, touchdown Blue Hens. It's a 14-point lead for Delaware. Another crazy drive, though, by Miles Johnson, who is so obviously the best player on the field. In the 4th quarter, 3rd and 8, here's Ruggs on the run. Short throw is caught. Not enough for the first down. Good tackle by Leon Irvin, and they're going to go for it. Inside their own 35. Ruggs looks to throw it. Wide open. Easy money first down. A solid play after the catch. That is Devontae Ramsey, the sophomore receiver. With 6 to go, Ruggs looks to throw it. He's going to run, and he can move. Oscar Ruggs. Juke move. Big hit in the secondary by Dorian Childress. A little over 5 to go. Ruggs jumps over the defender, but fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Delaware. Paulo Anderson forces and recovers the fumble himself. Another takeaway for the Blue Hen defense. A little over 4 to go. We're going to continue getting number 0 the ball. Another first down for Miles Johnson, who has 10 catches for 204 yards. Good ball player, isn't he? Second down. Dickens looks to throw it. He's still out there. Pass is tipped and intercepted. That is incredibly unlucky. And look at the space on the return. Landry Howden with a pick 6 as Yates will not catch up. That was not Dickens' fault at all. Incredibly unfortunate. I think it went off of Yates' helmet into the hands of the defender, but it's a one-score game now. Here is Dickens. Jet sweep for Johnson again. Miles Johnson, juke move, first down. There he goes to about the 50. We've got all those recruits visiting. I want to win this game by as many points as possible. I thought we were going to win by more than 7. Here's Dickens on third down, hit as he throws incomplete. I don't know if Zambrano is healthy or not. Maybe it's not even a bad thing that he's not in the game. But Arkansas now has a chance to tie it. Who would have seen this coming? We do get the stop, though, in front of the 2-minute timeout, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th and 4. This is essentially for the ball game because we would be in field goal range if they don't get it. Ruggs under pressure. Wow, one-handed catch. And it goes for a first down. A heck of a grab by Aries Jolly, the 87 overall junior. Short throw now for the running back Emery. He's got space to the outside. Jamison Emery with blocks. And Anderson wraps him up near the 30. If we don't stop messing around, Arkansas could tie the game. They're going to go with another screen. Another big hit. Not quite a first down, but they're close. 4th down and 1. Arkansas is going to have to go for it again. This is it. They only have 2 timeouts in about 40 seconds. Looking to throw it as Ruggs. He's got room to run. He gets the first. Okay, seriously, guys, they might actually tie the game. Let's wake up and not let them do that. 30 seconds now, 3rd and 5. Here is Ruggs on the run. Oscar Ruggs, another first down. He's tackled at like the 2. They can seriously tie the game. 2nd and goal, 20 seconds. Arkansas, touchdown! It's the backup running back, Chad Cheeks. And this game is going to overtime. We were up by 14 and had the ball 3 minutes ago. What happened? We win the toss. We will start on defense, largely because I just don't want to see the offense on the field. It will be Eric Dickens, though, who plays quarterback. Not by choice, but because the doctors are not letting Zambrano in the game. 2nd down for Arkansas. Here is Ruggs. He is sacked from behind. A big play defensively. We needed some pressure. The play is made by Bryce Robinson. 3rd down now. Ruggs to throw it under more pressure. Get him! Ah, we almost had him. That would have knocked him out of field goal range. It is a manageable field goal, though. I think you're looking at about 45 yards for Manuel Montez, the sophomore. It's up, and it is no good! He misses it wide left, and all we have to do is score. I know for our offense, that is a challenge. But let's find a way to do it. Up the middle, Nelson Wheeler, first down, past the 15, past the 10, big start. As long as we don't completely screw this up, we should be fine. I don't think we're going to throw the ball the rest of this drive. It's Jameer Yates on 2nd and goal. Not quite, but he's close. 3rd and goal now at about the 2. I think you know who we're getting the ball here, too. Eric Dickens hands it right back off for Yates. He gets closer, but doesn't get it. We're kicking the field goal. We're not doing anything stupid. I said I wanted to win this game by as many points as possible for those recruits. But in order to win the game by as many points as possible, you have to win the game. So we're taking the points. We're not going to do anything we regret. 19-yard field goal. Brendan Flavors for the win in overtime against Arkansas. Taking his sweet old time. The kick is up, and it is good. Thank God. 27-24. Delaware wins it in overtime against Arkansas. For a second week in a row, I'm sorry I had to subject you to that. Once again, a disgusting game by the offense, completely carried by the best performance any individual players had in this series. Miles Johnson with 11 catches, 229 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He seriously put the entire offense on his back because everybody else gave us nothing. The pass blocking's been atrocious. The 2 quarterbacks combined to throw for 4 interceptions. The one by Dickens wasn't really his fault. I'll give him a pass. But Vi Zambrano was horrible. He's essentially turned it over 6 times over the last 2 weeks. He has 4 interceptions in these last 2 games. Carson Boyd had 4 interceptions all year in 14 games last season. Zambrano will be healthy next week and he will play, but he has just not been very good so far. He's got to step it up. Without Miles Johnson, I don't know what his numbers would look like. I cannot imagine they would be very good. He seriously bailed out Zambrano on numerous occasions. An unbelievable showing by Miles Johnson. This guy is so much fun. Our run game has been fine. I mean, it really hasn't been the problem with the offense compared to the passing game. The passing game's been a total disaster with the quarterback play, especially Zambrano. The run game has been fine. I'm excited to see more out of these backs. Yates wasn't super efficient, but Nelson Wheeler was good. The O-line, though, I'm surprised they've struggled because it's a lot of returning players. Defensively, I know we allowed 24 points. The defense wasn't clutch, allowing that one touchdown at the end of the fourth quarter, but they were still really good. If we had lost this game, it would not have been at the fault of the defense. As we simulate the week again, our visit had mixed results. Some good, some bad, which I kind of expected, given that we barely beat a significantly inferior opponent by only 3. Gessner we're not getting, but Follow we have the lead, and Keegan Smith we have the big lead. Michigan put their scholarship back onto Smith, but we have a very large lead, as Miles Johnson obviously wins the Big Ten Player of the Week. He should win the National Player of the Week, too. He does. Thank goodness, as he deserves. He won us the game. If not for him, we probably would be 1-2 right now. He's in the Heisman race, which is very well deserved. 4 touchdowns. His career high is 5. He also had the punt return score as well. This is extremely well deserved for Miles Johnson. He has been incredible. This is the best player we've had in this series. It's a real shame we're only going to have him for 1 year because he's a senior. So I got to thinking, and I thought to myself, how can we maximize this talent? Because he's obviously very special and very rare. He single-handedly has won us 2 games, particularly the Arkansas game. So as I look at the rest of the receiving corps, Glasgow's a senior, Mosley's a senior, Langford's a senior. All these guys are gone after this season. And the receiving corps is not going to be great next year. So my idea of Miles Johnson, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I need you to hear me out. He has been phenomenal this year. He has been awesome. I'm benching him for the rest of the year. We are going to redshirt him because we have 3 really good receivers as is. Our best way to maximize Miles Johnson is to not play him this year. And I know that sounds crazy because Vi Zambrano clearly needs him. But I'm going to redshirt Miles Johnson. I want him on our team next year, and I know for a fact he will be back because I redshirted one of our seniors last year, linebacker Quayman Gates. And when I redshirted him, I figured he would be back on our team this season. However, he showed up on the graduated players list, so I thought he was gone. It's not a big deal because he's a depth player. But then in training results, he's back on our roster. So not only will Miles Johnson be back, but he's not going to transfer. The game will not let him. He will be on the roster next season. So that's what I'm going to do. I think we can maximize him by getting the most amount of games possible, which is by not playing him the rest of the year. We can play him actually one more game. We can use him out of the bullpen, maybe if we really need him late in the year. It hurts because he's amazing, and I've really enjoyed using him, and it sucks that we're not going to have him the rest of the year. But now going into next year, we're going to have this absolute monster who we can build our offense around because we know he's coming back. I understand it's bold to redshirt our best player as the number 2 ranked team in the country. It's not like we're not good. We are. But you know what? Fortune favors the bold, my friends. So as I look at our visits, Rico Dubs I really want. I'm going to keep putting on points on him this week. If Penn State still has a big lead, I'm going to take him off. But I really want him. He looks like a beast. We've got Rutgers here in week 4. Rutgers is 2-1 up to this point. They lost to Kent State this past week. They are a 64 overall. Not exactly the class of the Big Ten. After us, the schedule does not get much easier for the Scarlet Knights. They then have number 9 Minnesota, number 1 USC, number 12 Ohio State, Bowling Green, number 25 Indiana, number 22 Michigan State, number 7 Oregon, and number 10 Illinois. All of their Big Ten games are against ranked teams. All of them. That's crazy. This conference is insane. Their best player is an 87 overall running back, Michael Dukes III. They've got some really good skill position players. Their quarterback is Matt Steed. He's a pretty solid redshirt freshman. He's a younger guy. but he's a 78 overall. I feel like EA is trolling by making Miles Johnson the cover of the screen, knowing that he's not playing today and will not play for the rest of the year except for one more game. It's a really tough decision because we're ranked number 2, and it's obvious this team needs him. I'm not sure if Zambrano is going to survive without Miles Johnson, but we've got 3 other good receivers with Corbin Glasgow and R.J. Mosley, guys who have been here for a little while, and Evan Langford, who I think is a good player. Steed hoisted up. That one is tipped and incomplete. Derek shot. Got a hand on it. And Rutgers will punt it away on their opening drive. Here we are on offense. It is a 3rd down and 8. We're moving it pretty well so far. As Zambrano looks to throw it. Back in action after missing the second half of last week. He connects with R.J. Mosley for the first down. We're going to need Mosley and Glasgow to step up. Those guys are not Miles Johnson, but they're both really good. 2nd and goal. End zone. Touchdown. Throwing it into traffic, but it's George Terzili with the score. I've been impressed by this kid, Terzili. He can play. He's made some really nice grabs for us. 7-0, 3rd down for Rutgers. Steed under pressure. That one is going to be caught. Will they get the first? Not quite. Big hit by Jamerson Forte, who's also really impressed me. Back on offense, 2nd down. Zambrano fumbles it again. It is picked up by the Blue Hens, thank goodness. Blair Ricci with the strip sack. Zambrano now has 3 fumbles and 4 interceptions this year. He's got to watch out. 3rd and long. That should have been intercepted, but it's dropped in the secondary. Rutgers gets it back on 3rd down. Steed hoists it up. Deep down the field. One-on-one. Broken away. What a rep by Polo Anderson. NFL teams, you catch that on tape. He stayed with them the entire time in man coverage. Didn't grab him. Made a great play on the ball. Of course, the offense is useless, so they're going to do nothing with it as Glasgow does not get the first down. Rutgers gets it back. Nowhere to go for Steed. He should have tossed it, but he ended up getting hurt on the tackle by D'Imperio. 2nd down, short throw is caught. Evan Langford with the spin move makes another guy miss. Who needs Miles Johnson when you have Evan Langford? This guy's pretty good himself. He's the same rating. Here is Yates up ahead. Touchdown, Delaware. Jameer Yates. He's been an end zone magnet so far. Blue Hens lead 14-0. 3rd down, they're going to run the ball. They had a pretty good drive going, but are not able to convert that time. A good stop by the defense. They ended up punting it, interestingly. It would have been like a 50-yard field goal. Here is Zambrano on the run. He's got his man, Corbin Glasgow. That's what I want to see from Vi Zambrano. He can make plays out of structure. He did it in week 1. He did it at Kennesaw State. And then he has bad misses like that. His accuracy has been very poor. Rutgers has it back. 30 seconds left in the half. Under pressure, a big sack. Steed is back in the game as he gets wrapped up to end the first half. The defense is playing great again. The offense, not so much. We do lead at 14-0. At least we have 2 scoring drives up to this point. You know, it could be a lot worse. The Boise State game, we had none. Here we are in the second half. 3rd down and 13. Zambrano hoisted up. That one is incomplete, looking for Nelson Wheeler, and we'll have to punt it away. Rutgers back with it. Steed under pressure. Sacked again. This pass rush is really good. As much as our offensive line has not done a good job pass blocking, our pass rush up front has been phenomenal. Bryce Robinson now has a sack in 3 consecutive games. Rutgers did get the first down, though, a few plays later, and now they're going to get a big run shortly thereafter. Brian Goffin makes the play, the redshirt junior. Their star running back, Michael Dukes, got injured earlier in the game. He only had 2 carries for 3 yards. 3rd and goal. Steed under pressure, and he is wrapped up. It's Kevin Moore, who's off to a great start this year. He's been one of our best players. Brings him down. Trey Baca, true freshman kicker, from 22 yards out with about 2 minutes left in the 3rd. It is up, and it is good. So Rutgers, unlike Boise State in week 2 and James Madison in week 1, is on the board. It's 14-3. Here's Zambrano on the run. Hit as he throws. It's caught! Evan Langford over 2 defenders. He's had some nice plays in this game. I'm impressed. He's been very productive out of the slot. He's not Miles Johnson, but he's good. Zambrano has time deep down the field. It's caught by Glasgow. He had 3 different receivers he could have gone to, but I think he made the right choice because Glasgow makes a great play after the catch inside the 10. Now in the 4th quarter, 2nd and goal. Zambrano, touchdown! R.J. Mosley finally finds the end zone, and Delaware adds to the lead. It's 21-3. 3rd down now for Rutgers, trying to get something going down by 18. They're going to run the ball, and they do not get the first down. 4th and inches. Obviously, at this stage of the game, you got to go for it. down by 18. A little over 5.5 minutes to go for the Scarlet Knights. Here is Steed from Rockville, Maryland. Hands it back off. Not a chance. It's Dalton Witherspoon losing yardage. It's DeMarco Daniels who brings him down. Now we'll look to score on 3rd down. It's another touchdown for Delaware. George Chukwuua. His first score as a Blue Hen this season. Falcons fans look away. I don't even have to say it. 4th down, up the middle. An easy first down run for Steed, who gets it past the 40. We'll see if Rutgers can score it. Nope, they won't. They ran out of time. That'll do it. 28-3. Delaware is 4-0. Luckily, we didn't really need Miles Johnson in this game. The offense looked just fine. Zambrano, I really don't think he was that good, but he was better than he's been. Baby steps. We got to make some progress. But it's still good that we won our first in-conference game pretty comfortably. Again, Rutgers obviously is not the strongest of opponents. Zambrano did not throw any interceptions, so that's, again, progress. We ran it okay. If the run game wasn't great, the pass game was fine. Obviously, we certainly miss Miles Johnson out there, but we didn't miss him enough to really be in danger of losing this game. The defense, though, was fantastic. Again, only allowing 3 points. They continue to be the bread and butter of the team so far. But once more, this is what we did last year, and it was right around the 5th game of the year where the defense started to fall off. So we're in a recruiting battle for edge rusher Stephen Falla. He would have visited during the Arkansas game. So we're seeing his battle come to a quick end. We've got the lead over NC State. A few other guys have narrowed their list down to 3, and for a lot of them we have the lead. But for Rico Dubs, Penn State is up by a lot. I don't really think there's a shot for us to come back, unfortunately, because he is a really good player. With Falla, I think we're still going to put 50 into him, even though I think we're going to get him. With guard Keelan Samia, that's a really close race. Maryland took their scholarship off of Matthew Tobin, defensive tackle, so he can move a little bit slower. With Keegan Smith, I think this is a lock at this point, so I really don't need to put much into him. With J.J. Bayer, we have to figure out when we're going to have him visit. He has visits scheduled with Miami and Georgia, but both of those visits are scheduled really late, and I think his recruitment will be done by then. So really, we have the say. I think the question is, do we want him to come Week 7 versus Michigan or Week 8 versus Minnesota? Both of those teams are currently ranked in the top 10, so we would obviously get a major boost by beating a top 10 opponent. No Miles Johnson in the Heisman race. That's unfortunate. Not surprising, but unfortunate. I think with Bayer's visit, we're going to wait another week because I'm not worried about anybody else scheduling a visit in front of us as I try to decide which week makes the most sense for him to come. On one hand, I think Minnesota's not as good of a team, but his recruitment might be done by then. So that's kind of what we would be weighing out. We've got Purdue here in Week 5. The Boilermakers are 3-1. They lost to TCU by 2. They beat UCLA by 1. So a lot of close games for them so far, and they've got a pretty tough schedule coming up. Maybe not quite on the level of Rutgers, but in the Big Ten, it is really challenging for these lesser tier of teams. They're also a 64 overall. Them and Rutgers are obviously not the best, but everybody else we're playing against is going to be at least in the 80s. Shane Honeycutt, the redshirt senior, is the quarterback. 91 throw power, 88 speed, but he's not super accurate. He's a 6'6", 230-pound pure runner. That is quite the archetype. They've got a handful of good players on this team, but again, they are certainly at the bottom of the Big Ten. We're certainly getting our 2 easiest in-conference games out of the way. This one's on the road for the Delaware Blue Hens, who are now 4-0, looking to continue the undefeated season against the 3-1 Purdue Boilermakers, as Delaware is now sitting at number 3. We have maintained that top 4 ranking all season long. Zambrano connects with Evan Langford down the field. Who needs Miles Johnson? Evan Langford doesn't quite have Johnson's straight line speed, but he's got everything else. On 3rd down, Wheeler unable to get the first, a guy who's got Big Ten experience coming from Illinois. 4th and 3, we're keeping the offense on the field and going for it. Zambrano, he's got his man. That's Corbin Glasgow, who gets the first down to about the 30. And the 4th down conversion proves to pay off, trying to finish off the drive with a touchdown. Jameer Yates with the score. Much like Langford, he's been in the Big Ten for a while. He was at Washington State last year, but spent most of his career at Iowa, who we're going to play against later in the year. On 3rd down, Honeycutt on the run. What a throw! A beautiful pass under pressure. You're seeing that pure runner archetype come into play there. As Honeycutt backs up, I don't know what he was thinking. It's intercepted by Polo Anderson, and the Blue Hens will get it back. Yeah, that was a pretty stupid play. Running backwards, off balance. I don't get what he was trying to do. Zambrano repays the favor. One play later, Purdue gets it right back. Junior linebacker Emmanuel Yeboah picks it off, and we're right back to square one. Purdue is gifted a get-out-of-jail-free card that they will take full advantage of. Deion Stacy, the native of West Lafayette, Indiana, ties it at 7. Later in the first, Zambrano on the run is a wide-open man down the field. It's Langford, who's off to a big start, juking his way past the 30. He's already got probably about 80 yards at this point as we move into the second quarter. On third down, we're going to run it up the middle. We haven't ran it well in short yardage spots today, and that continues. As Wheeler is short, 4th and 4, we're going to go for it again. Zambrano scrambles under a little pressure, looking for the end zone, and it's intercepted once more. Second consecutive drive with a pick. No one was open short, so he kind of forced it deep, and it's Radarion Daniels who makes the play for Purdue. Honeycutt pitches it on the option for Clint Handy, breaks the tackle and has to be lassoed down. Purdue is really playing well. Ever since we got our interception, it's been all Boilermakers. Got to get some big defensive plays like that one, a huge sack by Stephen Moma, and that'll make it a 3rd down and 20. Now for the Boilermakers, they're going to go short. Jose Tricero gets a few, but they're going to have to settle for a field goal as Moma gets a little dinged up. Honeycutt, 10 of 12, 100 yards, minus the interception. He's been really impressive as it's a long kick for Purdue. Jacobo Lozano from 50, he's got it. And the Boilermakers take the lead, 10-7. I don't think Delaware really anticipated trailing in this game, but here we are. On second down, that one is picked again! Vi Zambrano has been intercepted 3 times in the first half for a second time in the last 3 weeks. Garrison Yancey picks it off. Purdue can make it a multi-possession lead. Honeycutt looks to run, and Honeycutt is in for a score. 17-7. This Delaware team looks unbelievably flawed right now. The offense looks like a disaster. Vi Zambrano cannot keep the ball away from the other team, as Langford's got 100 yards now in the first half. At least somebody's shown up on this side of the ball. Zambrano scrambles on the run. He's got his man Corbin Glasgow near the 15. I think the strange part about Zambrano's game today is other than the 3 interceptions, he's honestly been quite good, as he's got Langford up the middle inside the 5. The problem is you can't just gloss over those 3 picks. That's a huge part of this game. But luckily, he leads us down the field, gets the score over to Corbin Glasgow, and the lead is miraculously within 3 going into the break. 17-14, Purdue has Delaware on upset alert. By Zambrano, another 3-interception game. He's a bagel salesman. He's just lobbing them up. I mean, if he doesn't get it together, at what point do we consider potentially benching him? On 3rd and 7, not enough on the screen, a loss of 6. Cole Carmichael brings him down. Delaware has it back on offense. Zambrano looks to scramble up the middle, has the first down, past the 30, sliding downwards. A good run for Vi Zambrano, the redshirt junior, as it's now 3rd down in the red zone. Under pressure, he's got his man, R.J. Mosley. He finds the end zone, and Delaware takes the lead, 21-17. Purdue gets it back, 3rd down and 4. Honeycutt scrambles. That one is broken away, incomplete. And so far, we look a lot better here in the second half. The defense, while the 17 points weren't entirely their fault, they weren't great in the first half, and obviously the offense was not either. Good 3rd down run by Nelson Wheeler, trying to get the ground game established. Play action early in the 4th. That's George Terzili with the touchdown. Zambrano took a shot in the pocket as he delivered the throw, and give Zambrano credit. He's recovered. He now has 3 touchdowns today. Purdue's trying to keep the ground game going. That ball's out. Kicked on the ground. Purdue's got it. That could have been a whole lot more. We needed to take advantage of the fumble by James Mount. On 3rd and 10, that one is broken away and complete. And they're going to settle for the field goal. Jacobo Lozano on to kick it again for Purdue. They want to make it a 1-score game with under 6 minutes to play. He made one from 50 earlier. This one's from about 45. And the left hash for the redshirt senior, and it is through. 28-20, an 8-point lead in favor of Delaware. Let's see if we can choose some clock, make it a 2-score lead. Zambrano wrapped up on his blind side, a huge sack by Gentry. Third down and long. Zambrano up the middle, wide open. Nelson Wheeler, first down, juke move. Wheeler past the 50. A huge play for the Delaware offense as it's a gain of 39, our longest of the game. Wheeler, another big third down conversion. He's had some very clutch plays in this second half, and it gets us in field goal range. 3rd and 7, one timeout for Purdue. Zambrano under pressure. He's got Glasgow, who does not get the first. We're going to have to settle for the field goal. I don't know why Purdue didn't call the timeout as the kick is up, and it is good from Brendan Flavors. A big make. We lead by 2 scores, and we are back firmly in the driver's seat. A 4th down and 5 for Purdue. Honeycutt will scramble. He'll use his speed to get the first, but he fumbles it! And it's picked up by Delaware, and that should just about do it. DeMarco Daniels picks up the fumble on the force by Dorian Childress. 31-20, Delaware is now 5-0. Vi Zambrano wins the player of the game. I mean, those numbers look good. 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, completed 67% of his throws, but it also does not factor in the 3 interceptions in the first half. And if he didn't lead us at the end of the second quarter to that touchdown drive, there's a real chance he would not have come out there for the second half. I mean, those interceptions were very costly. Credit to him for recovering, but he's turned the ball over a lot this year. Run game was good. Wheeler had a really impressive second half. And Evan Langford had a great game. 7 catches for 122 yards. Well, we had 3 different players score. Defensively started a little bleak, honestly, but I think we really got it together, forcing a number of turnovers. Anderson with the pick, forced a couple of fumbles, including the one at the end of the game. So as we simulate the week, we get some good news. A verbal commitment from 5-star linebacker Keegan Smith. The first 5-star in program history. Now, it's still verbal. He can still flip, but that's an exciting one. We also get edge rusher Stephen Falla beating out NC State in the recruiting battle, and this recruiting class is coming together quickly. Falla's commitment is a hard commitment, so he's locked in. Signed, sealed, delivered. He is definitely coming to Delaware. With Smith, we're in a good spot, but I guess it's not over. With Keelan Samia, we're in a recruiting battle. With J.J. Bayer, we're down to 3. Miami has passed us for the lead. I'm really not that worried, though. I think we have the final say with our visit. His recruitment might technically be done after this week, but I think it's going to be a recruiting battle because us, Miami, and Georgia are all so close. So I think this recruitment will still be going on going into week 8. So I think we can really pick either the Michigan or the Minnesota game to have him come. Michigan is coming off a loss, but they're an 89 overall. Minnesota's an 80. So I would probably rather have him come against the 80 overall because I feel like we're more likely to beat them and beat them by more points. So he's going to come week 8. This will probably be the end of his recruitment, so we're going to get the final say over Miami and Georgia on whether or not we can get him. We've got to start planning our visits for the next 2 weeks with Michigan in week 7 and Minnesota in week 8. I want a lot of offensive players to come week 8 as complimentary visits for the quarterback Bayer. So I think we're going to have a lot of defensive guys come against Michigan, including 4-star cornerback Nick Watkins, who we have a pretty big lead for, but I would like to get him done with. Daquan Hearns, we're going to have him come in week 7 as well. We now know his ideal pitch. He's got an A+ for championship contender and an A+ for conference prestige. So that's a really good pitch for us that we can hopefully really lean on. With Corey Maples, I don't think it's overly likely, but I think it's worth a shot. And then I think we're going to have offensive tackle Ben Bayer come in week 7. He's got an A+ for conference prestige. In terms of potentially week 8, we've still got 3 open slots for who's going to come with J.J. Bayer. And again, I think I'm going to prioritize offensive players. So this is the final game of our first half of the year, our easy stretch. Then we play 4 ranked teams, plus Ohio State, who's probably still tough despite 3 losses. Now, UCLA's off to a strong start. They're 4-1. Their only loss is to Purdue by 1 point. And, I mean, we saw Purdue. They played as tougher than we expected. UCLA's an 82. These guys are no slouch. They're a pretty solid team. They've got some real high-end talent, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, including one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Redshirt junior Daquan Gainwell is an impressive blend. They also have Nick Evanson, who we went after in the portal a couple years ago. But Gainwell is an impressive blend of size at 6'2", 230. He's got a great arm. He can make every throw. and he can make some plays as well. Under pressure, off platform. I think this is a guy who, if we were doing NCAA Next Up at this stage of the series, he'd probably be a guy who's in the conversation to go in the first round. I mean, he's got all the NFL skills that evaluators look for. It's our final road game of this 3-game road stretch. Our 3 games after that are all at home. Quarterback masterclass. I feel like that's kind of wrong. Are we forgetting he threw 3 interceptions? Zambrano scrambles on the run. He's got a couple guys open and connects with Glasgow, who gets it past the 40. Offense has got to find a way to set the tone. We've started too slow too often. Zambrano picked again! In the end zone, it's Jay Carswell, the free safety. And Vi Zambrano, not even halfway through the year, has been intercepted 8 times. Carson Boyd, in double the amount of games last year, had half as many interceptions. Gainwell looking deep. That one is broken away by Leon Irvin. They're going to go for it on 4th down and 2. Gainwell looks to throw it up the middle. Wide open. Easy first down for Sateki Fanaika, the sophomore who makes the play for UCLA. On 3rd down now, scrambling is Gainwell. Doesn't get the first, but again, he's close. DeMarco Daniels with the tackle, and now they're going to kick. Interesting that they'll go for it farther down the field, but not here. Nick Costanzo from 28 yards out. It is up, and it is good. And UCLA starts this one on the board. They lead 3-0. Vi Zambrano's got to stop giving the other team these meatball subs. I mean, this is ridiculous. He's been intercepted 8 times now. He has a fumbling problem, too. At least this drive, he doesn't turn it over. The offensive line not doing him any favors really all year, including that play. Bruins get it back. 3rd down. Gainwell hit as he throws incomplete. Defense gets the stop, and we'll get it back on offense, looking to salvage what's certainly been a poor start again. At the 2-minute timeout, Zambrano under pressure, picked again. This has gotten out of control. I mean, seriously, what's the deal? Kevin Mateo picks it off for UCLA. Another multi-interception first half for Vi Zambrano, his 3rd of the last 4 weeks. On 3rd down, Gainwell on the run. That one is caught. I don't think they got the first, but I don't think it's going to matter. That looked like a late hit in the backfield. Instead of a 4th and short, it's an automatic 1st and goal on the roughing the passer by Bryce Robinson. Cannot happen. And UCLA takes full advantage, scoring on the very next play with Jake McCoy. Another double-digit deficit for Delaware. We've been at our best this year when we've played behind. We've got to find a way to do it again with 17 seconds and only 1 timeout. Zambrano up the middle. He's got Glasgow. We've got to keep this moving. Tick, 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 tick. 8, 7, 6. Zambrano snaps it, looks to throw it. He's got Johnson, who is down, and we're going to call the timeout with 1 second left. We're not messing around. We need points. Brendan Flavors will kick this one from 49 yards out to bring Delaware within 1 possession. Going into the second half, his kick is up, and it doinks off the upright. No good. A 10-0 deficit going into the break. We've played well from behind this year. We did it against Purdue. We did it against Arkansas. But I think this UCLA team is certainly better than Purdue. They're probably a little better than Arkansas. Although, to be fair, the Hogs did just beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That doesn't surprise me. That Arkansas team is scary. So not only does UCLA have a 10-point lead, but they also start with the ball. Gainwell under a ton of pressure, and it's somehow caught by Cam Bliss. How did that work? On 1st down now, wide open down the field, it's caught! Touchdown for George Cheek! And UCLA is turning this game into a blowout. 16-0. The extra point attempt for the Bruins is up and blocked by Dorian Childress. That's actually a huge play because it keeps it a 2-score lead. The offense returns, but with a new face at quarterback. Eric Dickens connects with Langford past the 50. So Vi Zambrano has been benched. Enough is enough. 2 interceptions and 0 first-half points. We felt like we had to make a switch. Dickens under pressure, incomplete. We're going to have to punt it. Into the 4th quarter, UCLA up 16-0, and they should be in position to add to their lead. Sateki Fanaika gets about 22. As long as they don't royally mess this up, they're going to lead by 3 scores. On 3rd and 12, looking, Gainwell's got another first down for George Cheek, and they are inside the 5. Second and goal now. Daquan Gainwell hands it off. UCLA in the end zone once more for a touchdown. It's Jake McCoy with a rushing and receiving touchdown, and it's 23-0 with less than 4 minutes to go. Delaware knows they have to move unbelievably quick. Langford is wrapped up past the 15-yard line. This clock is moving under 3 minutes to go. 2nd and 7. Dickens flushes to the left side. On the run, it is caught. Finally points. It took us 3.5 quarters. But it's R.J. Mosley with the touchdown. We're going to go for 2. We might as well do it now, see if we can make it a 2-score lead. Antoine Tutt, the running back in the backfield, as he's trying to cut it to the outside, but has nowhere to go. Both of our top 2 running backs are dinged up. Not that we've really had time to establish the run anyway. As we near the 2-minute timeout on 3rd down, Daquan Gainwell, his pass is caught. That will not be enough, though, for a first down. So we get the stop. We'll get it back on offense. UCLA is already basically in prevent defense. Only a 3-man rush. As that one is hauled in by Langford, who's had another big game. We've got to keep things moving. 8 for 112 for Langford. That one is caught. Mosley flips it for Tutt. Little hook and ladder action. Maybe we shouldn't be revealing our tricks in a 17-point deficit, but still a cool play. And the drive finishes off with another touchdown by R.J. Mosley, who I think has been kind of quiet this year, but he's got 2 scores here in the 4th. And now we will go for an onside kick that is swiftly picked up by the Bruins. They've got a 10-point lead. They have the ball. It's certainly not looking good for us, but UCLA wants to add some salt in the wound. Josh Furmorgan with a Bruin touchdown. It's a 3-score lead for UCLA. Furmorgan's team was the only ones to beat us in the regular season last year. He was at Notre Dame, and now his team's going to do it again. As we get a 4th down conversion at the very least. That's Cameron Villan, a good time to make his first career catch. 1 second left. I mean, the game's already over, but Dickens is going to try to get one more play for the end zone. Hoist it up, and it's caught by the defense. A fitting end. Another interception, this time for UCLA. It's Shakir Sneed. The Bruins upset number 3 Delaware, and they do it in pretty dominant fashion. 30-13. A really bad loss for the Blue Hens. The defense, again, was nowhere near good enough, and the offense had 0 points until halfway through the 4th quarter. We were starting to move it a little bit down the stretch, but man, the turnovers are just killing us. Vi Zambrano, 6 games into the year, has thrown 9 interceptions, and he's fumbled it like a good 3 or 4 times at this point. The crazy part is we threw the ball well as a unit, but those turnovers just killed us. Daquan Gainwell was really solid while the offense moved the ball, I feel like. Eric Dickens was honestly really good. I'm not going to fault him for the interception. It was the last play of the game. Now, I don't want to take too much away from this from Dickens because the offense was only throwing the ball in the second half. We were moving super quick in a, obviously, tempo offense. But he was very impressive. We didn't get much from the run game, mostly because we couldn't run the ball because we were down. Evan Langford, though, 10 catches, 135 yards. R.J. Mosley, 7 for 70 and 2 scores. Otherwise, though, the rest of the offense was not great. The offensive line has allowed too much pressure this year. And the defense, this is what we did last year. We started off red hot, and then we cool off. It's not fully the defense's fault we allowed all 30 points. Obviously, the field position UCLA started has to do with that. But 30 points is 30 points. Are we regretting redshirting Miles Johnson? I mean, we could have really used him out there. I don't know if he's worth 17 points, but he still leads the team in receiving by almost 100 yards. He hasn't played in a month. The other guys have played doubled the amount of games he has. At the very least, we get some good news recruiting-wise. Offensive guard Keelan Samia has hard committed to the program. That's another offensive lineman. I think we've already broken our school record for most freshmen to commit during the season. This is why, again, I love recruiting in power conferences, because it's so much more interesting and exciting and fast-moving. In terms of the other notable news, we've got 4 guys visiting this week, 3 of whom we do not have the lead for, so we've got to certainly battle back with them. A number of guys are down to 5, and we're in first place for all of them, which is great news. I feel like overall we're in a good spot in terms of our recruiting efforts, but we've got to figure out who's visiting Week 8 in the Minnesota game with J.J. Bayer. It's worth noting that really nothing has changed in his recruitment.
Miami still is the lead, but we're close enough, as is Georgia, to where this will probably be a three-way battle next week, and then week 8 will be the final week of his recruitment, which he's visiting our program. So his recruitment, I think, is in our hands. In order to make his visit as good as possible, we need complimentary visits on the offensive side of the ball. So I think we're going to have wide receiver Damian Booth with 98 speed show up for the visit. We could go with the A- deal breaker or the A+. I think I'll play it safe, go with the A+. Tight end Tony Stokely. Utah's got a big lead, but we'll have him come. And then I think I'm going to have one of these offensive linemen, even though their recruitments really are not that competitive. I will have, I think, Adonis Little come week 8. I thought about safety Artie Higgins, but I really want as many complimentary visits for Bayer as possible. I want to make his visit perfect to where if he chooses not to come here, it's not really anything of our fault. I think I'm going to have Higgins come week 9 against Iowa. He's a guy I really like, and his recruitment is very competitive. And then those other guys I don't think I'm going to schedule as of right now. So we've got 3 complimentary visits for J.J. Bayer. That's a big deal. That could get us a lot of points. As for Keegan Smith, Michigan's making a late push. I don't think I need to go full hard sell, but we need to continue to give points to him just to ensure that we still land him, because Michigan is really trying. They've been very wishy-washy. If Michigan wasn't so wishy-washy, I feel like they could have gotten him, but I'm not complaining. Speaking of Michigan, they are 0-2 in conference play. Whichever team is lucky enough to play against them this week is probably getting a very desperate and hungry Michigan squad. They have to win this game. Well, of course, that lucky team is us, as they'll be coming to our place. With losses to USC and Indiana, 2 good teams. They've got a really hard schedule, though. 3 ranked opponents, and then Michigan State might as well be ranked. I mean, they've got a brutal second half of the year, but they're a really good team. Kevin Brady, the senior at quarterback, totally the best Brady to ever play quarterback at the University of Michigan. They've got a really good offense, plenty of skill position players. I'm surprised their defense is rated higher because they've got a monster running back and a 3-headed machine at wide receiver. We've got a big decision to make in terms of the quarterback position. We benched Vi Zambrano last week for Eric Dickens. We've got a really good Michigan team this week. If Zambrano's struggling against bad teams, what's he going to look like against these guys? Well, ultimately, I think I am going to roll with Zambrano because outside of the turnovers, he's played well. But the turnovers have been a problem. 9 interceptions, 3 fumbles. That's 12 total. That's 2 per game. If he does not clean up the turnovers, he will have a permanent spot on the bench. I'm going to give him this shot, but his seat is blazing hot, especially because Eric Dickens played well in the second half against UCLA. I really liked what I saw from him. But we're going to give Zambrano a shot against the Wolverines, the battle of the blue and white winged helmets. I was wondering if it would be hard to tell which team is which, but Michigan's blue is a lot more navy, and ours is more of a bright blue. Aside from the fact that we're wearing very different jerseys, I feel like that really gives it away. Brady's pass is dropped. Wide open. Should have been a first down. Bad miss for the receiver. And we'll get it back on offense. Zambrano, his pass is caught. Risky throw into traffic, but he's got R.J. Mosley with the first down. 3rd and 4 now. Zambrano's pass is caught. Glasgow doesn't get it. Great tackle. We're going to go for it on 4th and inches late in the first quarter. Zambrano looks to throw it. Has a couple open receivers. He's got Zerzili. That'll keep the drive moving. So far, so good for Vi Zambrano. He looks really solid. 3rd down on the run. He's going to keep it himself. Takes a hard hit. Doesn't get the first, but he's close enough to go for it to start the second. 4th down and 1. We're going to run it with Jameer Yates. Gets the first all the way to about the 1. Powerful physical run by the big running back. 2nd and goal. Right back to him into the end zone for a touchdown. And Delaware strikes first as it's 7-0. Michigan will get it back on offense. 3rd down and 7 for Kevin Brady and crew. They're going to run the ball, and they will not get the first down. Leon Irvin brings down Shaquille Cornell. Will get it back. So far, a really good start for the Blue Hens. I'm encouraged. It's a jet sweep. Evan Langford makes guys miss. Past the 50. Past the 40. Evan Langford has very clearly been the best receiver over the last 3 weeks. His emergence has been very big. Zambrano on 3rd and 2. His pass is picked off again by Dorian Figures. 10 interceptions for Vi Zambrano this year. He cannot keep the ball away from the opposition. This is crazy. the amount of interceptions this guy throws. Here comes Michigan now looking to take advantage of the turnover as Luther Horner gets them out of safety territory. Brady's pass is caught. That one will not be enough of the first down for Ben Patusi. So they're going to punt it, and we're going to get it back on offense once more. Zambrano's still out there. As on first down, he fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Delaware. Another turnover, nearly, for Vi Zambrano. 3rd and 8, under pressure. Zambrano on the run. That one is caught, and it does go for a first down. Great throw. I mean, with the bad plays, you also get a lot of good ones with this guy. But the bad plays have been too common. Scrambles. First down, past the 40, wrapped up near the 35. Should have tried to go out of bounds. Instead, there's going to be a timeout used. 3rd and 7, we're just going to run it with Jahmyr Yates. We don't want to do anything crazy, and we're going to bring out the field goal unit with 2 seconds. 50-yarder for Brendan Flavors. Had his first miss of the year last week to end the first half, but he makes it this time. We trailed 10-0 against UCLA a week ago at the break. Now we lead 10-0. Vi Zambrano still has to keep better care of the ball. Another interception and another fumble. But we do lead by multiple possessions. And for a team that has not started games off well as of recent, I guess this is very promising, given that we usually play our best in the second half. On 2nd and 9, Zambrano on the run. That one is caught. Great throw. It goes for a first down into the hands of R.J. Mosley. On first down, under pressure, fumbles it again! And it's picked up by Michigan with plenty of room to run on the return. A scoop and score for Dorian Figures. And it's a one-possession game. Jared Small with the strip sack. I've had enough. This is insanity. Eric Dickens is back in at quarterback again as he gets sacked for a big loss. Marquise Pugh makes the play. 3rd and 18. He'll just go short for Evan Langford, who gets the first down. Heck of a play by Langford to keep the drive going for a gain of over 20 yards. 3rd and 12. It's a wheel route. Wheeler, get it? He's just short, and Michigan gets the stop. When they last had the ball, they were down by 10. Now they're only down by 3. 3rd down and long. Brady under pressure. That one is caught, but not enough for the first. Great tackle by Irvin. We'll get it back on offense now into the 4th, with Dickens leading the charge probably for the foreseeable future as Nelson Wheeler does not get it, and we are going to go for it. This feels reckless because our defense has been really good, but I trust this new quarterback. On the run, incomplete. That was a bad throw. Now we give Michigan some life. I wanted to show trust in Eric Dickens, but he's unable to make the play. On 3rd down, that one is broken away in the secondary by Polo Anderson, so luckily the drive doesn't result to anything. We would choose some clock, move the ball down the field. Nelson Wheeler with the first down. We get an injury timeout. That's great. I wanted to flush Michigan's timeout. They only have one left, though. We're going to run it back with Wheeler up the middle, trying to burn that last timeout. Another injury. Lovely. I don't think Michigan's ever going to have to use that last timeout. 2nd down and 1. Wheeler again breaks away, and he is in for not a touchdown? Well, at least Michigan uses their last timeout. That's Kirby Smart on the sideline, by the way. I thought he was very clearly in. And now we could be in a little trouble because we don't get it on 2nd and goal. Now 3rd and goal. It's Wheeler. Touchdown, Delaware. We were able to waste a lot of time on this drive, and it is a 2-possession lead on the touchdown pass by Dickens. Michigan back with it. They need a quick drive. That one is caught by Luther Horner. Breaks the tackle. Makes another guy miss. Down the sidelines. 15, 10, 5, touchdown from 75 yards out. Michigan's longest play of the game before that was 15 yards. Now they need the onside kick. It is recovered by Zayden McDonald, and Delaware will hold on to win it, despite another 3-turnover game by Vi Zambrano, who had an interception, fumbled it twice, one of which was lost for a scoop and score. But a big game on the ground from Nelson Wheeler with 105 yards and a late receiving touchdown help us get the win over number 17 Michigan, who's 0-3 in conference play. It's strange because they average more yards per play than us, but we had 23 first downs to their 4. We ran 66 plays. They had 22. 22 offensive plays the whole game. They barely had the ball. Only 10 minutes. We dominated time of possession. Zambrano and Dickens' passer ratings were pretty even. Zambrano was better on the plays he didn't turn the ball over, but he turned the ball over 3 times. Again. Technically, one of the fumbles we got back ourselves, but still, you get the point. Wheeler with a huge game, 105 yards and the clinching touchdown. As for the defense, really good. Other than the long touchdown at the end of the game, the defense didn't allow any points. And they were barely on the field. 22 defensive snaps. That's it. They looked a lot more like they did in the early part of the year. Let's simulate the week. I'm curious if we'll get any news with J.J. Bayer. We get a hard commitment from linebacker Keegan Smith. He's officially coming, our first ever 5-star. Bayer has dropped us to 3rd place. But it's a 3-way recruiting battle with Miami, Georgia, and us. And he's visiting the campus this week for the Minnesota game. Daquan Hearns, we were trailing by a lot going into last week, but we had him visit. The visit clearly went well. We now have the lead over Wake Forest going into a recruiting battle. We've got 3 other offensive players with Bayer visiting this week. We have a huge lead for Ben Bayer. We were in 3rd place last week, but our visit went well for him. The visit went well for Nick Watkins. We're not getting Corey Maples, though. He's going to Michigan. I figured it was unlikely, but it stinks because he's really good. How is this guy the 255th best prospect? He looks like a 5-star caliber offensive lineman. So with Bayer, it's neck and neck and neck. This is probably the final week of his recruitment, and we're getting the last say. We're playing against a really good opponent. We have a really good activity with an A+ motivation, and we have 3 complimentary visits. If this visit goes well, I think he's going to come here. What a huge get this would be for the program. A 5-star, the #1 quarterback in the country. With Ben Bayer, we had a really awesome visit with him. Northwestern and Minnesota have really slowed their efforts down, so I think we can probably slow ours down a little bit, but I'm going to continue to give him 20 just to be safe. He also looks really good, so I certainly would like to land him. In terms of the other notable recruiting storylines, Georgia, out of nowhere, has put a lot of points into Adonis Little. Thank goodness I offered him the visit last week. And then Daquan Hearns. I'm going to put full 50 into him. We got to go full throttle. With Nick Watkins, we have a pretty big lead. He does visit Oklahoma in Week 10, so I'm still going to give him some points. But I think we're in a good spot for the 4-star corner, trying to pry him away from his home state. I think I'm actually going to go hard sell, now that I think about it. Now that he's visiting in Week 10, I'd rather play it safe. We've got Artie Haggins visiting in Week 9, but we've got 3 more slots. Now, the problem is the 2 best players here are both free safeties, which would create competitive visits. I think we're going to start with strong safety, Trey Fowler. I just put him on the board last week. We're in 5th, but there's not really a lot of schools going after him super quickly. In terms of these 2, I feel like we have to have one of them come now. It's annoying, but I don't think either of them will still have their battles in Week 13. So we're going to have Elkins come Week 12 against Memphis, and then Waring, I'm actually going to have visit this week. I'm not really sure who else I want to have visit. I would have picked Teague, but he's visiting Memphis in Week 9. Maybe Matthew Tobin. I think I'm going to pick Terrell Waring. I know there's a competitive visit, but there's also a complimentary one with the other safety, and I just want to get him on campus as soon as possible because he's one of the best players on the board. As for Tobin, I think we're going to choose him and give him the visit instead of giving him recruiting hours. I'm not going to have these guys come because I really don't think we have a shot at any of them. But this is certainly the biggest week in Delaware recruiting history. J.J. Bayer, the number 3 overall prospect and the number 1 quarterback, is coming to campus against 6-0, number 3, Minnesota. These guys are only an 80 overall. We're a 97. But don't get it twisted. These guys are very good. However, as I look at their schedule, I think they're a little fraudulent. They've played Rutgers, Purdue, and Iowa, and they really haven't played all that well. Their schedule gets a lot harder in the second half of the year, just like us. Now, sure, we have also not played great against inferior opponents, but I think this is a very beatable team. Now, they've got a lot of star power on offense. Their 5 best players are either receivers or running backs. At quarterback, it's a young guy, true sophomore Theo Ficken, who can't really run, but he's got a really impressive arm, a very traditional pocket passer type who's got plenty of weapons to get the ball to. Minnesota's number 3. We should not sleep on these guys. They have developed into one of the best programs in the Big Ten. And as we continue to move forward in this series, knowing that obviously this is the save file we're going to have for our long-term series that'll start up in a few weeks, I would have to imagine Minnesota's probably going to be one of the better programs in this Big Ten conference. As for Delaware, we've got a massive decision to make at quarterback today. HEISMAN-Caliber has been benched 2 weeks in a row. We're not starting him again. It's Eric Dickens making his first career start against the top 3 opponent in one of the biggest games in the history of the program as we attempt to recruit his and Zambrano's replacement. Dickens up the middle with a strike. It's hauled in by Evan Langford to about the 10. Offense is moving quickly down the field as Jameer Yates is in for a touchdown, and Delaware is off to a fast start. That's exactly what we needed. It's 7-0. Minnesota's turn. They're going to try to get something going on the ground game. Broken tackle. Huge run for Enrique Velasco, who gets 39 yards. A big play for the Golden Gophers, who now look at a 3rd down and long. Thicken looking short. It is caught. First down inside the 5 to about the 2 for Paul Sturgeon, the senior tight end. And Velasco will punch it in. This one is tied at 7. For a team that's played in a lot of low-scoring games this year, this is a high-scoring start. Into the second quarter, knotted up at 7. Dickens on the run is a wide-open Evan Langford, who continues to impress. He's now just finally passed Miles Johnson in terms of receiving yards on the year. Play action. Dickens up the middle. That one is caught by Mosley. Eric Dickens has this offense in quite the rhythm so far. 3rd down. Misfires for Mosley. We're going to take the points. I think it's a little far to go for it. And against the top 3 opponent like Minnesota, I think sometimes you just got to make the responsible choice. 10-7 lead in favor of Delaware. The offense looks good. Dickens has had some misses, but he's looked impressive. 3rd down, short throw is caught. Not enough. Big hit by Leon Irvin. We'll get it back on offense now, trying to make it a 2-score lead, as Minnesota will look to punt it away with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Jeremiah Denson, our new punt returner. My goodness. Fares. What a punt out at the 1. Now 3rd down and 6. It's Langford who gets the first down. And now we've got a little wiggle room to try to move the ball. 3rd down and 10. Dickens to throw it. It is caught. Nice catch by Glasgow, but he will not get the first down. And Minnesota will use a timeout. They'll get another chance to take the lead. And remember, they do start with the ball in the second half. On 1st down, Theo Thicken looks to throw it. Wide open. What a catch by Sturgeon, who takes a hit by Forte, but holds on to the ball. Only 20 seconds now. That pass is low. And Minnesota's going to have to try to kick a field goal. George Colombo from around 46 yards out to tie the game at 10 apiece. With less than 20 seconds to go in the half, it is up, and it is on the money. We are knotted up going into the break. It's been a really competitive game so far. I think we've been the better team slightly, but Minnesota starts with the ball. That's a big deal in a tie game like this. Our offense, I think, has been pretty good. Dickens has not been super accurate, but he's out has moved the ball. Minnesota, meanwhile, stares at a 2nd and 12. Thicken fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the defense. DeMarco Daniels with the strip sack, the force, and the recovery, doing it all himself. 3rd and 5 now for Delaware. Dickens to throw it, and it's incomplete, looking for Wheeler. The game thinks we should go for it. I honestly think that is insane. We were not expecting to start with the ball early with this field position in the second half, so I would hate to waste it and not score. Let's take the points. Let's guarantee that we score off the turnover. Let's make sure we take the lead. We were not expecting this opportunity with the fumble, so let's just get anything we can out of it. Thicken on 2nd down as a wide open receiver. Bad coverage and a bad miss on the tackle attempt. Eric Blank, the redshirt freshman, with the reception. 3rd and 7, broken away. Derek Schott makes up for his coverage bust earlier on the drive. And now Minnesota will look to tie the game with a field goal. 31-yarder is up, and it is right down the middle. We are knotted up at 13 apiece. The Blue Hens will get it back. About 30 seconds left in the quarter. 2nd and 2. Dickens drops back, looks to throw it. Now scrambles. He's got room to run, and he's got a lot of it. Sliding past the 50 for a Delaware first down as we move into the 4th quarter. Have not scored a touchdown since that opening drive. Dickens pass, broken away for Terzili. 4th and 2. We could kick the field goal, take the lead. It's not entirely a dissimilar spot that we were in the last quarter, but I'm going to go for it. Dickens, wide open. Terrell Cheeseman gets the first. I was hesitant to go for it, and I was only going to snap it if I liked what the defense gave us, but luckily, we did. Dickens floats it up, and it's caught for a touchdown by Evan Langford. The Blue Hens take advantage of the 4th down conversion and take the lead with less than 6 minutes to go. Minnesota gets it back under pressure. Ficken is sacked on the blitz by Bryce Robinson. That'll make it a 2nd down and 19 now for Minnesota. Ficken, short throw for Sturgeon, and they're going backwards again. Derek Schott with the tackle, and it's 3rd and 22. Ficken under pressure. He is sacked! Wrapped up on the play by Casey Sisko, and they're going to punt the ball. Only down by 7. It was a 4th and what? 4th and 30? Here is Langford on the end around, past the 30, past the 25. And Minnesota's got to start using their timeouts. 3rd and 8. Dickens to throw it. He's got Corbin Glasgow, and he gets it inside the 5. Injury timeout stops the clock, but we are certainly within striking distance. 1st and goal. Jameer Yates. Touchdown! Delaware! It's a 2-score lead for the Blue Hens with about 2 minutes to go in the 4th, and Minnesota's undefeated season is in major jeopardy. Ficken by himself in the backfield here on 1st down as he looks to throw it. Fickens hit, and that one is intercepted. A meatball sub right into the hands of Josh Tripucka. Past the 25, the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! It's a 3-score lead at the 2-minute timeout for the Blue Hens. This game has turned into a blowout. We were tied not that long ago, only a few minutes ago. Now it's 34-13. What a quarter for Delaware. 4th down conversion. That one is caught, and it'll go for a lot more. A huge gain, breaking another tackle is Xavier Grimes, who gets 64. Now it's 4th down again, 4th and goal. Ficken with about 20 seconds. Looks to throw it, and it is broken away by Kevin Moore, and Delaware knocks off undefeated number 3 Minnesota, outscoring the Golden Gophers 21-0 in the 4th quarter, 34-13 the final. What a finish for Delaware. That was probably our best quarter of football of the year. The offense looked really good. The defense was making plays. This is a huge win for us, not just in terms of the Big Ten standings, pushing us up to 7-1, getting ourselves potentially closer to a conference championship, but for recruiting with quarterback J.J. Bayer. I think we were the better team, but I don't think the score does this game justice. It was really close for much of this game. Eric Dickens had a number of misses. His numbers don't look that good, but the offense just seems to have way more chemistry when he's in the game. On the ground, Jameer Yates scores twice. Wheeler was solid. Evan Langford nearly 100 yards again. He continues to clearly be the best receiver on the team. We need more from Glasgow and Mosley. I think if those two guys can step up, this passing game can actually be kind of good, which is impressive given how bad it's been all year. So we are now 7-1. We're certainly going to move up from our number 10 ranking. And now the question is with quarterback J.J. Bayer. The visit could not have gone any better. A-plus motivation for his activity. We beat a top 3 nationally ranked opponent, which certainly gets his bonus points. 3 complimentary visits. And now we won the game by a lot of points. So if we don't get him, there's nothing else we really could have done. We've given him 50 points every week. We gave him the maximum scholarship. The visit went perfectly. If we don't get him, I can sleep at night knowing we did everything we could. Cornerback Nick Watkins. That's a good get, but I don't want to get too excited. He still has a visit with Oklahoma in a couple of weeks. And then the big one. Hard committed. 5-star quarterback J.J. Bayer. His recruitment is over. We are going to have a 5-star quarterback on our campus next fall. We overpowered Georgia. We overpowered Miami. And we got our guy. How awesome is that? For a team that's had a revolving door at quarterback, we've had 4 starters over the last 5 years. Hopefully Bayer is a guy who can be here for quite some time. We have 4 prospects visiting this week, and we lost out on a few guys. We lost the battle for Hearns. I thought we were going to get him. He's going to Wake Forest. Stokely I wanted, but I'm not that surprised. And then the kid going to Kansas State, I figured we never really stood a shot. Josh Tripucka wins the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week with his pick 6. And now with the additions of Bayer and I guess for now Watkins, this recruiting class is looking really nice. It's towards the back half of our conference, but we've got 2 5-stars and 7 players I'm really excited about. Now, if Watkins, again, I'm going to continue to give him a lot of points. He visits Oklahoma next week. If his recruitment is still going on by then Oklahoma can make it interesting. I think we're going to get him, but it's not a lock. So now we've got Iowa in week 9. Iowa's 3-4. They're not great, but after this game, our schedule gets really hard with USC, who's the best team in the country, Memphis, who's been the best group of 5 team, and Ohio State, who's bouncing back after a slow start. So we have to win this game against Iowa, who's not had a great year. They're 13th in the conference. We, meanwhile, are in 3rd. They beat Illinois. They lost to UCLA, which, to be fair, so did we, by even more points. They lost to Minnesota, and they lost a close one last week against Texas. They're a solid team, 82 overall. I feel like they're very Iowa-esque in the sense that they're not like some contender, but they're very respectable. They're very strong. They've got some good players, including one of the highest-ranked quarterbacks in the entire game, with redshirt senior Rocco Marriott. 6'4", 230, 92 speed. He doesn't have a great arm, but he is a very, very impressive physical specimen.
Right now, the Blue Hens are currently in position to make the college football playoff, but still with 4 more games left in the regular season, that could change. The only, I would say, not even easy team, but the only team who either isn't ranked or isn't super highly rated that's left on the schedule is Iowa. Today, we'll be rocking the black jerseys for the night game as on 3rd down. Dickens tries to zip it up the middle for Glasgow. It's incomplete. We're going to go for it on 4th down and 5. Dickens rolls out, has room to run, and he gets the first down. A good scramble by Eric Dickens, returning in the starting lineup today as the first drive finishes off strong. Jameer Yates, who spent 3 years at the University of Iowa, gets the touchdown against his former program. I wanted to make it a point to get him to score against Iowa today because this game probably means a little bit more to him. Here's Cam Hollis on the opening play for Iowa. The Hawkeyes repay the favor within a matter of seconds. We marched down the field with a 7-minute drive that lasted the entire quarter, practically. Iowa matches our point total in 10 seconds. And we're knotted up at 7 into the second. Terrell Cheeseman, the redshirt freshman, gets it to about the 25-yard line. Play action on 1st down. Dickens up the middle. He's got R.J. Mosley inside the 5 to about the 1. So far, the offense, again, looks really strong. And we'll finish off the drive with another touchdown for Jameer Yates. His second of the ball game. And Delaware is back ahead 14-7. Iowa gets it back on offense. It's Hollis to the outside again. Can he break off another? Not quite, but he gets it to the 50. 2 carries for 106 yards for Cam Hollis, as it's a pitch on the jet sweep, and this one for Iowa goes the opposite direction. It's a loss of about 8 for Jaleel Locke. 2nd down and 18 now for Iowa. They're going to go back with Hollis. He's got the hot hand, and he gets to first on 2nd and 18. 127 rushing yards already. 3rd down and 10. Rocco Marriott's pass is caught. Hollis does not get the first. It's a gain of about 5. And now Iowa's going to look to go for it here on 4th down and 5. Marriott looks to throw it under a little pressure. Into traffic. It's intercepted by Zayden McDonald. Maybe he would have been better off dropping it, but gets a pretty good return. And who doesn't love some style points? The senior safety picks it off, and we will get it back on offense, looking to potentially add to the lead. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns so far for Delaware. As on 3rd and 10, Dickens looks to run under pressure, hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. So we're unable to take advantage of the turnover, and the Hawkeyes get it back. Wow, some trickery, and that did not work at all. A major loss for Iowa, as it's now going to be a 3rd down and 12. Officially a loss of 6 for Ahmad Mond. As Marriott looks to throw it into traffic, it is broken away. Good coverage by Derek Schott. We'll get it back on offense nearing the 2-minute warning. On 2nd and 13, here is Dickens. Looks to scramble. That one is hauled in for a 1st down. An impressive start to this game for Corbin Glasgow. Is on 1st down from about the 30. Dickens backs up in the pocket. He's got his man. It's Langford inside the 5. Not quite able to get into the end zone. But Evan Langford was close. Nearing the goal line. That's a hat trick. 3 first-half touchdown runs for Jameer Yates. Certainly an impressive revenge game for the former Hawkeye. 21-7
Third down and 13. Marriott sacked on the play by Cole Carmichael. And we're really feeling ourselves right now in the second quarter, playing some good football, trying to potentially add to the lead. On second down, that one is hauled in. It's Yates. We couldn't get him out of bounds. So a very unsuccessful play because it forces us to use a timeout. And now at this point, we've got to try to get a 15, 20-yard gain to get in field goal range. On third down, Dickens scrambles. Wide open, he misses this open target. Evan Langford had so much space, he's got to make that play. So we're actually going to go for it here because there's only 6 seconds. I think we can get ourselves into field goal range, and how about that? Evan Langford to about the 30 with 1 second left. Perfect. My thought process is with 6 seconds, Iowa's not going to score, even if they get the ball back. We can make a play and score, and that we do. 47-yard field goal for Brendan Flavors is good. Really, other than the big run by Cam Hollis, this has been Delaware domination. I mean, Eric Dickens is 203 passing yards today, while Rocco Marriott has 7. I feel like that's pretty telling. 203 to 7 is a large margin. 24 to 7, your score here at the break. Delaware currently leading comfortably. Our offense finally playing well in the first half of the game. I don't believe it. Minnesota drops another one to USC. We are headed to the Coliseum next week to play against USC. The reigning champions have not lost since their title run. They're 7-0. As on third down and 10, Marriott and Iowa are moving it down the field. That one should have been intercepted off the tip. Iowa's going to have to settle for some points. Looking to make it 24-10. Marquise Shockey from 37 makes the kick. He is from Iowa, Louisiana. The town is named Iowa, but he's not from the state of Iowa. Yet he plays for the University of Iowa. Here is Yates with a big run. What a start to the night for him. He has lived in the end zone and has given us a lot of big plays. Second and inches. Dickens. He's got his man to about the 10-yard line. A good throw and catch for Corbin Glasgow. Second and 10. Play action. Here's Dickens. Up the middle. Touchdown. Delaware. R.J. Mosley with the score. And this is quickly turning into probably our best team effort of the year. I mean, other than the big runs by Hollis, we've played a really clean football game. Big hit on third down. DeMarco Daniels delivers the boom. We'll get it back on offense early here in the fourth. Second and 8. Play action. Dickens to the left side. He's got a wide open man deep. Does not look that way, and it's intercepted. Yeah, looking back, that was a pretty stupid read. I'm not going to lie. Iowa's going to get it at about the 50-yard line off of the interception by Jarek Rollins-Benton, the redshirt senior corner, the highest-rated player on the roster. Second down for Iowa. Marriott is sacked on the blitz. A good job there by the Delaware defense. Leon Irvin is the one who makes the play, and it's third down and 19. Marriott looks to throw it. Marriott under more pressure takes an absolute beating as it's incomplete. Stephen Mulma with the pressure. Nothing going well right now for Iowa on offense. Marriott's going to lob it up on fourth, and it's batted away in the secondary. Incomplete. Dalton Elliman, the redshirt junior, got a hand on it. So we're going to choose some clock, add another touchdown. Jamir Yates, not 1, not 2, not 3. That's 4 touchdowns for Jamir Yates today, and it's 38-10. Third down and 16 for Iowa. Marriott sacked again. He has taken a ton of hits down the stretch in this game. Tyrone Chance, I think, is starting to come along after a slow first half of the year. Fourth and 23, another sack for Tyrone Chance. Back-to-back plays. Rocco Marriott, unsurprisingly injured. I mean, he took hit after hit after hit. Really good win. Our best game of the year, I thought. We ran it well. We threw it well, minus a very bad interception. And then the defense, other than a couple big runs early by Cam Hollis, the defense was great too. I mean, if we can play like this, then this team can absolutely make some noise down the stretch this year. But the question is, can we do this consistently? And it hasn't really shown to be. The answer can be yes so far. Iowa went 9 for 19 for 13 passing yards today. That's pretty bad. Dickens, meanwhile, 273, a touchdown and a pick. Jamir Yates, obviously the star of the show, over 100 yards. It wasn't even just the red zone production. Like, he was really, really good overall. And, oh yeah, he had 4 touchdowns. Lineford was good. Glasgow was good. Mosley with a touchdown. I love the balance in the passing game. The offensive line was better. And then the defense I thought was really good too. Tyrone Chance with 3 sacks. Really, really great win. The guys who visited this week had to have liked what they saw.
Let's simulate the week going into our big matchup against USC. As Matthew Tobin, the defensive tackle who did visit for the Iowa game, he is verbally committed. We do have some bad news otherwise, though. So Ben Bayer, we had a huge lead for last week. I thought he was a lock to come here. Now he's in a recruiting battle with Northwestern, who has the lead. And then Adonis Little is going to Georgia. We had a really good visit with him 2 weeks ago. I thought we had passed them. I'm surprised about those guys. Those would be two big gets for us at offensive tackle who I kind of penciled in. So, of course, we're on the road this week, but we don't have any more traveling the rest of the year, which is really helpful for recruiting. Week 11's a bye. Week 12 and 13 we're at home, and Week 14 is a bye. So with Ben Bayer, I completely fumbled by only giving him the soft sell of 20 points, so we've got to go full 50. He visits Northwestern in Week 11, which could end up being kind of a problem. We have a number of guys ready for visits. I'm going to schedule some launch shots for the bye week in Week 11. It doesn't really hurt to have these guys come in, but some of the other players here I'd rather have come in during a game where I think we can really take advantage if we play well against either Memphis or Ohio State. In the case of Ejiofor and Gainwell, those are two of my overall number one targets left on the board, so I would rather up the ceiling by having them come in against Memphis or Ohio State. Nick Watkins, we have a verbal commit for. He's visiting Oklahoma this week. I think we should be okay, but I'm going to continue to give him a lot of points because I don't want to chance it. I really like him. I think he's a very good player, and I think he could be a starter for us sooner rather than later. I think I might have turned it down from 50 to 40, but not really much other than that. So we're number 6 overall. We are 3rd in the Big Ten, and we can put ourselves in position to make the conference championship if we win this next game against USC on the road. The Trojans are number 2. They have not lost this year after, of course, again, winning the national championship just a season ago. They interestingly have 5 more games. We have 3. So they might be a little bit more energized, which I don't love. They have a lot of resume wins, though. They've beaten Georgia. They've beaten Minnesota, along with other good teams. They've got a lot of good young stars with guys like Mateo Iglesias in the backfield at running back. Lynn Connors won a national championship as a freshman quarterback, looking to do so again as a sophomore. They've got plenty of receivers, plenty of offensive linemen. I mean, this really is the team to beat to win the whole thing. I mean, we are absolutely the underdog going into this game. We're on the road. We're traveling across the country at a hostile environment against, in my opinion, the most dangerous team in the country, who went on their crazy playoff run last year. They shut out Ohio State in the national title, and they haven't lost since. I mean, these guys are really, really good. If we want to be one of the top dogs, we've got to match up with the top dogs and maybe beat them. Connor's 3rd down throw is broken away by Polo Anderson. Good start on defense. 3rd and 7. It's intercepted by the USC defense. But there is a flag. There was a lot of contact with the corner and the receiver, and we are going to absolutely get bailed out. Defensive pass interference against Jamarian Vincent, who had the interception. Instead of a turnover, it's an automatic 1st down that we're not going to fully take advantage of as the drive comes to a close. But we did eventually move into field goal range, and it's a 44-yarder for Brendan Flavors. The stadium pulse is high, which is funny. I didn't know USC had fans. Kick is up. Kick is good. At least they do if people showed up to the games unlike UCLA, though. UCLA beat us. I really can't talk down upon them. 2nd and 2. Connors keeps it on the option, and he's going the wrong way, and he gets injured. That is not good news for USC, so they'll have to bring in a true freshman, Khalil Arma. On 3rd down and 2, it's a screen, and they've got nowhere to go. The defense with the stop. Jamerson Forte brings down the tight end, Matt Winton. They're going to go for it on 4th and 2. With a backup quarterback in the game, he hands it off for the star running back, Mateo Iglesias, who barely gets the 1st down. Into the 2nd quarter now, the Trojans are driving. Lynn Connors returns to the game as it's a direct snap for Iglesias, who makes a nice move, gets USC inside the 5, and now they are in striking distance to potentially take the lead. 1st and goal. It's the tight end, Winton, in for a score. That time, the little out for him ends up being a lot more successful than the 3rd down stop earlier on the drive. That'll make it 7-3. 3rd and 16. We're going to run a screen. It's Jameer Yates with nowhere to go. That play was kind of destined for disaster from the start. USC gets it back. 2nd down and 12. Iglesias switches to the left side. It's a play fake. Lynn Connors looks to throw it. Perfect pass up the middle, and they've got it back in the red zone. USC's feeling themselves here in the 2nd quarter. That's Taj Wiley, the redshirt senior. And then Mateo Iglesias in for a score. And USC leads it 14-3. We've got some work to do against arguably the best team in college football at their place. We know we cannot fall behind against these guys because I don't see how we're going to come back.
Really nice throw under pressure by Dickens. Over to Terrell Cheeseman. That'll get us a first down. Now on third. Up the middle for Nelson Wheeler, who makes a nice play to about the 10. We really haven't gotten a whole lot going on offense. It's been a lot of short plays. We really haven't had time to throw it. But on this possession, we get a couple big passes from Dickens, including the touchdown for George Terzilli, the tight end. And we're back in the ball game, only down by 4. It's 14-10 with a minute left in the second quarter. Here is Lynn Connors. He winds up into traffic, and it's caught by the tight end, Matt Witten, who's had a huge first half, making the play for USC. Down to 18 seconds and 2 timeouts. Looking deep down the field, it's caught! Inside the 5, Greg Byler with a gain of 35. Can USC punch it in with 12 seconds now and 1 timeout? Connors, end zone, touchdown, USC. George Childers with the score. The redshirt sophomore puts USC up by 11, 21-10. If we want any realistic shot of making the Big Ten title, I feel like we have to win this game, try to surpass USC in the standings. It's going to be practically impossible to with 2 losses and only 1 more in-conference game. Luckily, we do start with the ball in the second half, as that one is somehow caught by R.J. Mosley with a defender draped all over him. Now a first down with 5.5 minutes to play here in the second. That one is hauled in, wide open, Corbin Glasgow inside the 30, and our offense is looking good on this drive. 3rd and 10, Dickens scrambles, Dickens hesitates, Dickens has room, and he walks the red carpet for a score. Eric Dickens makes it a 1-score game, but we want to make it a field goal deficit, and so we are going to go for 2. Dickens, blitz, dropped in the end zone. That was a good throw, all things considered, but Corbin Glasgow cannot hold on. Overall, a good drive, though, 21-16. Connors has a wide open man to the 30. That's Greg Byler with a gain of 30. Now a 2nd down and 10, under a minute left in the third. Connors, play action, looks to throw it. That one is hauled in. It's Childers with a juke move inside the 10. And our defense just isn't cutting it today. This defense has played very well through the course of the year, but they're not showing up. Along with the big gain, there was also a defensive pass interference, which USC is obviously going to decline. But that just shows how sloppy we look right now on this side of the field. 2nd and goal. Connors picked off. There's the big play. Paulo Anderson with the interception. The defense finally comes up big. And now we've got an opportunity offensively down by 5 to really do something here. 3rd down and 3. Dickens looks to throw under pressure, incomplete. USC with a full-on blitz, and the play call ends up being a really good one. USC, good defensive play calling in this economy. Here is Iglesias with a nice run. Lassoed down to the ground. Now a 3rd down and 4 for USC. Connors, that one is caught. USC makes it a 2-score game. Taj Wiley with the touchdown, and even with the interception on the last drive, the defense just has not been good enough, and neither is the offense. Dickens is sacked on 3rd down. And we're going to have no choice but to go for it here on 4th and 12. Dickens looks to throw it. Sacked from behind again. Back-to-back sacks for the USC defense. It was Earl Bosch on 3rd and Cameron Angerer who finishes the drive on 4th. Connors, meanwhile, for USC, scrambles for a first down to about the 30. And the Trojans can taste it. They really are in business. 3rd and 5, short throw. Not a lot of room to go for Iglesias as he's wrapped up by a group of Blue Hen defenders, and USC is going to bring the field goal team out for the first time. Sam McLaughlin from 47. That one is good. And so USC makes it 31-16. Our offense would move down the field trying to score a quick touchdown, and that we do. A leaping grab by Corbin Glasgow. So step 1 of the operation is complete, but we still need to get this onside kick, or else I fear it might be Jover. Jimmy Metz's kick is recovered by USC, and the Trojans' undefeated season will continue, handing Delaware our 2nd loss of the year, 31-23. We stayed in the game. We didn't get completely killed, which is a positive. But now I really don't see an easy pathway with 2 losses for us to make the conference championship. I'd like to think we would make the playoff if we win out, but that's not really a given. I think the offense was okay. I mean, they weren't bad, but they weren't good either. Like, I'm not disappointed with Eric Dickens, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, that impressed. I mean, he was fine, I would say. The defense I'm honestly more disappointed by. Even with the interception late in the game where it seemed like we could really capitalize and failed, our defense just has not really played well, it feels like, in big moments and in big games. And it's great having a dominant unit on that side of the ball who's generally really good, but when the lights are the brightest, it seems like they usually come up short. Nick Watkins hard commits. That's very good news. He had a visit with Oklahoma this week. It's a good thing we kept piling points on him. We do lose out on some other players, though, going into our bye week. Number 14. Ouch. So we are out of the playoff now with only 2 games left in the regular season. I have a couple guys visiting. Carl Rayberg was supposed to. I mean, I guess he still can, but it seems like he's going to Ohio State. And then Ben Bayer's going to Northwestern. We completely fumbled him. I mean, I thought we had him in the bag. Kids, that's why you shouldn't be so confident. I think we just lost out on a really good tackle, but at least we got the other Bayer, the 5-star quarterback, the one who I would probably want a little bit more. But at number 14, we're not currently in the playoff, but I think we can bring ourselves back up because next week we are playing against a playoff team who I think is beatable, that being number 11, Memphis. So we've got to take Bayer off the board. We're going to schedule some visits over the next 2 weeks with Memphis and Ohio State. Jarius Gainwell at guard, I think we need an ASAP. So he's going to come in for the Memphis matchup. Gideon Ejiofor, we've really struggled to recruit tight ends. He's going to come in for the Memphis matchup, I think, in week 12 as well. And then who do I want to potentially give one more to? I think we're going to look at defensive tackle Theo Baggs. He's a JUCO sophomore, practically a 4-star, probably would be if he was a year younger. So hopefully we can take advantage of the bye week, bringing ourselves into week 12 in a really high-pressure game against Memphis where we really have to win to keep our playoff hopes alive. We land a verbal commitment for wide receiver Damian Booth. He's tall and he can run. 98 speed. I was a little worried Notre Dame was going to catch us, but we kept putting points into him even when we had a pretty big lead. The Irish haven't caught us yet. I suppose they could, as we are now ranked number 12. We climb a little bit after the bye week. We're in a recruiting battle with Artie Higgins for Texas A&M. So they've passed us. They will probably get him. But I do have a plan. Rayberg hard commits to Ohio State. That's not really a surprise. I didn't put any points into him last week. I figured it was over. But with Artie Higgins, I don't see how we can catch up, even with our very good pitch. But there is one thing I can do. Just give him a ton of NIL and hope for the best. This is a lot, 210 for a true freshman whose role I'm not sure of next year. But, like, we have a lot of NIL to use. It's only an extra 100 points. Imagine saying that in year 1, only 100 points. We really valued all of those. Otherwise, I think I'm going to keep putting points into Booth because he visits Notre Dame next week, and we don't have that big of a lead on them, so we've got to keep pushing. In terms of visits for week 13, we've got our guys scheduled for week 12, and we have a few guys interested for the week 13 game against Ohio State. A lot of these guys we need to visit against the Buckeyes to go well. Tight end Kari Collar, I think, could be really good. I think it's a launch shot because we entered his recruitment kind of late, and it doesn't really look like we fit any of his deal breakers. I thought about giving him a visit during the bye week, but I realized the only pitch that we can fit for him, his grades are a B, and an F for playing style, which is kind of a problem. So at that point, we might as well just have him visit during the Ohio State game, and we're going to have those 2 other defensive prospects, the linebacker and the edge, visit along with him. I really don't like our chances because clearly it's not a very good pitch we can give him. I guess we're just going to have to try to overpower with points. So we are still not in the playoff right now, but we're not far behind. So because of the Power Conference champion rule, Louisville is the 12th seed. Nobody in the ACC is ranked in the top 12. We're the first team out, but I would assume if we beat number 11 Memphis, we can probably put ourselves into that playoff grouping with one more week after that. So basically, we have to win the next 2 games. If we do, I think we're safe. If we lose either of them, we're cooked. Memphis' only loss comes to North Texas, which is a pretty big game in the grand scheme of things because North Texas is number 13. They're 10-0. I would imagine they will play each other again in the conference title. But right now, Memphis is still ranked ahead of them. Of course, we've got history with these guys. We played them twice last year. We beat them twice. We took them away from their playoff spot last year in the conference title. But both of those games ended up being really exciting. Gunnar Pruitt, the redshirt senior, is the starter. This is a very different team than the one we faced off against last year. A couple of familiar names, but largely a different group. Even though we beat Memphis twice a season ago, it certainly was not, pretty. The first time around in the regular season on the road, we would have lost if not for a game-winning takeaway with 30 seconds left. And then in the conference title game, we were down by 10, I think at halftime, before coming back and winning. Here is Jameer Yates on third down. He is short. We're not going to go for it a minute into the game inside our own 30, so Memphis gets it back on third down. Pruitt's pass is caught. Can they get the first? Not quite. That would have been an embarrassing missed tackle if they were able to make that play work. On third down and 2, Dickens remains the starter. Wow, that was a bad throw. It's intercepted. That was a Zambrano throw. Picked off by Keenan Drango, the linebacker. I mean, the receiver behind Drango was open, but that pass was nowhere close, as Memphis takes advantage with a touchdown run by Taekwon Canty. But the whole point of having Eric Dickens in at quarterback is because he doesn't make the game-breaking mistakes in terms of the takeaways like Zambrano. Hoisted up at the end of the first. It's caught by Glasgow. That was a third down as well. That's a really big play going into the second. Third and goal. Dickens has Nelson Wheeler, who breaks the play and in for a score. Delaware ties it up. A big drive. We needed to clap back as Brendan Flavors comes on for the PAT, and it's wide to the left. Somebody's getting a souvenir. It remains 7-6. So Memphis holds on to their lead. As on third down and 9, here come the Tigers, but not for long. A big sack by Chadwick Cannon Jr. So Delaware gets it back. About 3 minutes left in the first half. Dickens on the run. Wow, that was impressive. Over to George Terzili, who gets it to about the 5. That was a really nice play under a ton of pressure, able to find his target, let him make a play after the catch. Second and goal. Corner of the end zone. It's caught for a score into the hands of Evan Langford. And the Blue Hens take the lead 13-7. We did make the extra point, only going for the 1 rather than the 2 in that spot. On second down, more pressure. That ball's out. But Memphis does recover the fumble. That could have been quite bad for them. Tyrone Chance with the 4s. He's really caught fire as of late. Third and 20. Tipped. Should have been intercepted, but Trenton D'Imperio cannot hang on. We get it back on offense. A really good second quarter from Delaware. Dickens on the run. He's got R.J. Mosley to about the 5, a little bit short. This has been a very one-sided quarter. We'll see if we can add to the lead. Nelson Wheeler goes through on way. If nothing else, though, we are getting Memphis to flush their timeouts. Third down and goal. Dickens scrambles under pressure, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Delaware. Corbin Glasgow with the score. And the Blue Hens going to halftime up 20-7. Now, don't forget, Memphis was up by double digits in the conference title last year and lost. But the difference here is they were only up 10. We're up 13, and we just look dominant right now on both sides of the ball. Defense had a great second quarter. Offense scored 20 points. Here is Memphis trying to clap back. That's one way to do it. Taekwon Canty to about the 30-yard line. A huge run for the junior running back who is responsible for Memphis' only touchdown today. On first down, it's the second running back, Mustafa Okuyinoniu, who gets it inside the 10, a gain of about 25 for the redshirt sophomore. Second and goal, read option, touchdown, Tigers. It's a one-score game. The quarterback does it himself, Gunnar Pruitt, and we've got ourselves a ball game, 20-14. Delaware back with it. Dickens on second down gets sacked for a big loss of about 10, and now we're looking at a 3rd and 20. Play action. Dickens backs up under a ton of pressure on the run. He's just got to throw it away. And so far, the third quarter looks anything but like the second quarter. It's been all Memphis. They're going to run it up the middle with Canty. Gets the first. Past the 50. Past the 40. Forte catches up, but not before he gains about 47 yards. First and goal. Memphis can take the lead before the end of the third. Pruitt gets slaughtered to the ground by Cole Carmichael. Now the final play of the third, possibly. Third and goal. Pruitt, end zone, touchdown! On the comebacker, Memphis takes the lead. Quincy Agudosi with the score. And our big lead that we had at halftime has completely evaporated. Into the fourth, picked off! Memphis has all the momentum right now. Kent Moore gets it past the 45. Any relations to Kevin Moore, perhaps? I don't know. But this game is trending south quick. We have to get a stop. Second down. Canty gets a block. Taekwon Canty past the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Memphis. Taekwon Canty, second score of the game. And Delaware trails by 8. What happened? Third down and 10. Wheeler with a huge first down conversion. We needed that one badly. Not too long later, here is Dickens scrambling on the run, looking for the big play. Dickens has Mosley who gets it to about the 25. Delaware a touchdown and a 2 away from tying it. On first down with less than 5 minutes to go, our season may be on the line. Terzili inside the 10, nearing the 5. As we know, if we lose this game, we're pretty much out of the playoff. I don't see any way for us to get in. Yates on 3rd and goal is short, and I feel like we got to go for it. We might not have this opportunity again on offense. 4th and goal at about the 2. We're not a good short yardage team in terms of running the ball. Dickens sets up an audible. Is he looking to throw it, perhaps? Yes, he does. Dickens looking for Langford. It's incomplete. Memphis gets the stop. They get the ball at the 2, but they will gladly take the trade-off of not allowing points, especially when you've got this guy, Taekwon Canny, who's completely taken over in the second half. He's probably got about 150 yards in the second half alone. Canny on 2nd and 4 gets another first down, and we've got to start using these timeouts. We only have 1 left. On first down with about 2:50 to go, Taekwon Canny with another big run, has blocks over 200 yards as he gets into the 45. In the biggest, most important game of the year, the run defense has absolutely not shown up. Canny goes backwards. This time we'll use our final timeout. But this is what I was referring to earlier. When the lights get bright, the defense seems to fold. A first down would essentially end the game for Memphis and likely knock Delaware out of the playoffs. Pruitt goes backwards on the option. And now it's decision time on 3rd down and 14. If I'm Memphis, I run it. Take as much time off the clock as possible. Pruitt will hand it off. Taekwon Canny is lassoed down to the ground by Stephen Moma. So at the very least, we will get the ball back with about 80 seconds to go. Look who is back deep to return the punt. Miles Johnson is out of the bullpen, and Memphis wants nothing to do with giving him the ball, and I don't blame them. But this is the game where we're going to use Miles. Remember, he only played 3 games, so he's got 1 more as he makes the... Oh, he drops it. That was a very bad throw, to be fair. Johnson and Dickens haven't really played with each other at all. 2nd and 10. Dickens on the run. He is under pressure. He's got Johnson who makes the catch. But Eric Dickens was past the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. And instead of the big first down, it's now 3rd and 15. I really wanted to use Johnson ideally in a playoff game or something, but this really is a de facto playoff game. Our season's on the line this drive. We don't have any timeouts. We've got to score 8. Short throw. Johnson breaks the tackle. Gets the first. A huge play by Miles Johnson. Past the 35. Boy, have I missed him on our offense. Dickens with 50 seconds to go. On the run. It is caught by Langford. Past the 50 for a first down. Remember, Delaware has no timeouts. If we don't score 8 on this possession, it's game over. There's Johnson out of bounds. He gets about 6. 2nd down and 4 with the season on the line. Dickens looks to throw it. He's got Johnson again. Another nice play for Johnson, who's certainly been utilized on this drive. 2nd down and 10, 29 seconds. Dickens looks to throw it. Down the field, it's caught! Terzili! Touchdown! And Delaware is a 2-point conversion away from tying the game. What a drive by Eric Dickens. But look, none of it matters if we don't get the 2. And again, we've struggled in short yardage spots, running it and throwing it. Dickens will pass it. Looking for Johnson. He drops the ball! Miles Johnson, the savior, the chosen one, cannot hold on, and the season comes down to an onside kick. Jimmy Metz's kick is recovered by Memphis, and that's going to do it. It's going to take an absolute launch shot for Delaware to make the playoff. I think it's possible, but it feels really unlikely. There's a reason why we brought Miles Johnson into this game, knowing we can only use him 1 more time the rest of the year without burning his final year of eligibility. 28-26. Memphis will hold on to their playoff spot, knocking Delaware further down the rankings in our 2nd consecutive loss. The run defense was horrible in the second half. Taekwon Canny had pretty much 80% of that yardage in the final 2 quarters. And this is what I've been saying with the defense. They are not clutch. When it's a big game and it's a big moment, they come up short. It's great that the other games they dominate, but when it really matters, they kind of don't. Now, I will say, if Brendan Flavors had made that extra point in the first quarter, we would be in overtime right now. because we would have never had to go for the 2 to begin with, which is just a crazy domino effect to think about. Dickens was solid, had a huge drive at the end. It was good to see Miles Johnson out there. He made some nice plays, but he also had the drop that lost us the game. And for the guy who we've been hyping up all year as the best player this team's ever seen, he's the one who lost it for us. So an unfortunate defeat for Delaware, who's going to drop in the rankings and needs nothing short of a miracle, I think, to make the playoff. It sucks that, we weren't able to get the most out of Miles Johnson this year, clearly. I would have preferred to have him, for like a whole game. I would have preferred planning on putting him in early. But I felt like in that spot we really didn't have a choice because our season, it really felt like it was on the line. So we're going to simulate the week. Our only hope is probably to make the conference championship. The problem is with 2 in-conference losses in USC and Nebraska and Oregon ahead of us, that looks kind of slim. We do get a verbal commitment, though, from Terrell Warring. It's not all bad. This guy's an awesome player. I think other than the 2 5-stars, he's the best player on the board. I think he's going to start for his next year. Hard commit for Matthew Tobin, defensive tackle. Hard commitment for safety Artie Haggins. The upgrade in NIL scholarship worked. We would not have gotten him if we did not give him the extra 100. So clearly, that ended up being the difference. And we just landed, I would think, 2 awesome safeties. I say I think because with the other guy, it's only a verbal. But we should land him. We've got a number of players visiting this week, including, I think, the best tight end in the country, Curry Collier. We do lose on Delvin Elkins, safety. He visited this week. He's going to Oklahoma. Dylan Scroggins, I figured we were not going to get. Elkins is a little unfortunate, but I think the other 2 safeties are better. So it's really not the end of the world. It is only a verbal commitment, but he visits Oklahoma this week. I'm just not going to waste my time. I'm going to take him off the board. As for Terrell Warring, Georgia does have a scholarship. I don't think we need to put 40 on him, though, but I would like to put a little bit just to be safe. With Jarius Gainwell, I really wanted him. He looks like a 5-star player to me, but we didn't have a very good visit. He visits Notre Dame. We're not getting him. Running back Oscar Eddy. I really didn't put a lot of points into him during the year. He's the number 1 running back in the class, but he's small, he's slow, and he can't catch. It looks like Clemson really wants him anyway. So we've got one more game left in the regular season against Ohio State. It's been a disappointing season for the Buckeyes, but I think they're the highest-rated team in the entire game other than us. There's a 97. We're a 99 at this point, which is nuts. But Ohio State's only 7-4. They have been very blah. They really got demoralized, scoring 0 points in the national championship last year. Blowout to Georgia, lost to Ole Miss, who might be the best team in the country. They lost to Minnesota. They did beat USC, though, interestingly, which I guess helps our slim chance of making the conference title go from 0% to like 0.1. They are a very young team. Redshirt freshman Benji Obi is the quarterback. They really don't have a lot of old guys on this team. I guess it's easy to see why they're 7-4. It's that they're a very, very young group with a nice nucleus and a good core that they can build around over the next couple of years. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, these guys are certainly a very, very inexperienced bunch. It's raining for Senior Day, our final home game. We've got a lot of seniors, pretty much half the roster. Obi's pass up the middle broken away by one of the many seniors, one of our best seniors, Polo Anderson. And, of course, we can't forget about the original true freshmen who are now the redshirt seniors playing their final games here. As Wheeler gets to first, he'll be the RB1 today. Jameer Yates dislocated his shoulder. Happy Senior Day, Jameer. You're not going to get to play. That is very unfortunate. Dickens fumbles the ball. Luckily, it's picked up. But we're going to have this drive stall out pretty quick. The offenses, of course, had their struggles this year, even if they've gotten better as of late. I'm sure the rain doesn't help. As that one is hauled in to about the 10. A big play by Ohio State. Obi on the run with a great throw under pressure. Can the Buckeyes capitalize? 3rd and goal. It's intercepted. Kevin Moore, the senior, picks it off. One of the original guys who was on the team to start this series, a developmental safety who's played a big role for us really over the last 3 years. Dickens takes a big hit. He got the worst of it and is injured. So Vi Zambrano is in at quarterback. On 2nd down, Zambrano scrambles on the run. Has a 1st down. He can move. Gets it past the 45-yard line. A good run. Into the 2nd quarter now. Dickens is back out there. The rain doesn't seem as bad as well. As on 3rd down and inches. He's looking deep. It's caught at about the 5-yard line. I saw there weren't any safeties deep. We'll have our receivers one-on-one, and man, that looks like lunchtime. Dickens, touchdown! Delaware scores first. Corbin Glasgow, the senior receiver, makes the play, and it's 7-0. 3rd down and 10. Benji Obi looks to throw it. Obi takes a hard hit. He is sacked. And Obi gets injured. So both starting quarterbacks have taken some big hits in this game. Delaware has it back on third down. Dickens goes short. It is Langford who cannot outrun the linebacker. Luckily, next year, that shouldn't really be an issue because we'll have Miles Johnson in the slot. Third down and 5. New quarterback in. Dwayne Ingram, a freshman, is intercepted. Zayden McDonald, the senior safety, gets it past the 40s. He's had some nice plays for us over the last few weeks. Another takeaway by the Delaware defense. We've now picked off their starting and backup quarterbacks. Ingram, a true freshman, certainly looked like it on that throw. Third down and inches. Lobbing it for Mosley. Cannot hang on. Good coverage. I figured we gotta have a free play there because we're gonna go for it on 4th and inches. And Nelson Wheeler does get the first down, 39 seconds. We're gonna call a timeout. Try to reset things. I don't want to rush. We've got time. We've got timeouts. Third down. Pass is incomplete at the line. We're going to risk it for the biscuit and go for it. I know field goal makes it a 2-score lead, but this is a team that does not shy away from 4th downs. I've watched plenty of Dan Campbell football over the last 5 years. That one is caught. First down, George Terzili. We're going to go no huddle. 15 seconds now. First down, still with 1 timeout. Dickens on the wheel route. It's George Chukwurua with the score. And Delaware will make it 14-0 going into the break. Even with our back-to-back losses, I'm happy that we've shown up so far. My thought process is if we beat Ohio State bad enough, then maybe, just maybe, we can convince the playoff committee to let us slip in. If we play really well and have some luck in the other matchups, as on third down, Dickens hit as he throws. We really don't allow a lot of sacks, but my goodness, both of these quarterbacks have taken beatings this year. Ohio State back with it. Short throw is going to turn into a nice gain for Lynn Atagwe, who gets it past the 30, a true junior, 6 foot, only 170. Physically, I think he's got a little Devontae Smith to his game. To the outside, Jamie Gladstone, the running back, past the 15. Any relations to James Gladstone, perhaps, the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Third down and 5. Ingram's pass is off the mark. He was looking for Atagwe. They're going to settle for the field goal, just try to get some points and avoid the shutout. Russ Dwyer, a redshirt junior from Louisville, Mississippi. His kick is up. It's good, and it is 14-3. Delaware holds on to a 2-score lead. We'll get it back on offense, looking to extend said lead. Third down and 8. Dickens looks to throw it. Hits hard. Wheeler does not get the first. We're going for it. Not quite at the 50, but it's 4th down and maybe about 2 feet. A pitch to the outside. Evan Langford is well short. We wanted to get creative, catch him off guard. But Ryan Day's crew, of course, was not fooled. Third down and 12. Ingram's pass is caught. Neither of the feet in bounds, though. They're going to punt it. End of the 4th quarter. We lead by 11. Got to get more from the offense. Defense is pulling their weight as it's a hard hit on the sack. Dickens gets swallowed up. And we're looking at a third down and 24. Zambrano's back out there. That hit really certainly got the worst of Dickens. Zambrano is an open man. It's Langford. Evan Langford does not get the first, but it's a good gain of 20. We're not messing around. We're just going to take the points. 45-yarder for Brendan Flavors is up, and it is good. He certainly has some making up to do after the missed extra point last week that may have costed us the game, may have costed us a playoff spot in hindsight. Juan Stoudemire with a spin move, and he's not in. I thought he was. Third down and goal, short throw. Jamie Gladstone gets lit up by Leon Irvin. 4th and goal. Ohio State's going to rush everybody back to the line. They will look to go for it. The Buckeyes trying to make it a 1-score game. Dwayne Ingram has been at quarterback since halfway through the 2nd quarter, replacing the injured Benji Obi as it's broken away, incomplete, and Delaware gets it back. Third down for the Blue Hens inside our own 5. That one is broken away for Wheeler. So the drive is very short-lived. Ohio State gets it right back. Third down and 3. That one is broken up again. Our secondary has had quite the showing this evening. 4th and 3. Ohio State will go for it. 7-5 would be a disastrous season for the Buckeyes if they lose this game. I mean, 8-4 would be as well, but 7-5 even more so. As Carl Stammer gets the first down reception, their number 1 receiver. He's been kind of quiet today. 5 catches, 39 yards. For the end zone, it is caught for a touchdown. The Buckeyes finally make the play. Tyree Dumaine with the score as the onside kick is swiftly recovered by J.D. Frisch. And we will get it back. We're going to burn some clock. Third down and 10. Chukwuruma has space to the outside. And he can go all the way. Touchdown, Blue Hens. George Chukwuruma from 46. That's got to be the longest run of the year. We really have not had that many explosive runs this season. Ohio State back with it, trailing by 14. Stammer, what a catch! Oh, now Ohio State's going to make these big catches. Heck of the play, though, by Carl Stammer. But they've had a ton of drops in this game. Why are they waiting to do this until now? Ingram for Stammer again! Carl Stammer with another big grab. Ohio State's back near the goal line. 4th and goal with about 45 seconds. Ingram looks to throw it under pressure on the blitz, and he is sacked. And that will do it. DeMarco Daniels, the redshirt senior, one of the leaders of this team, has been here since the first episode in his final home game. Delaware wins it 24-10. We finished the regular season 9-3 with a 6-2 record in conference. And on one hand, we went 6-2 in our first year in the Big Ten. 2 years ago, we were in the Conference USA. How impressive is that? On the other hand, losing 2 of our last 3 games is not fun. Got to see both of the quarterbacks today. They were both fine. I mean, Dickens only had 85 yards. He really didn't look down the field because he didn't have time to. The offensive line was brutal. The run game was bad as well, other than a couple big runs by Chooks and Zambrano. Through the air, nobody had more than 39 yards. I mean, it just was not a very good offensive day for us, and that's been a common theme throughout the year. I get Ohio State is loaded with talent on the defensive side of the ball, but we have a 99 overall offense, and we've just had too many games where we haven't played well on that side of the ball. The defense did their thing. We only allowed 10 points, 7 of which came in garbage time. So we finished the season 9-3, and now we just kind of have to hope for a miracle in terms of making the playoff. We need a ton of chaos in terms of the teams ahead of us. We do have a bye week in week 14. A lot of these teams have 2 games left, whereas we're done now. So I suppose it's possible, plus conference championship week. We land a hard commitment from Damian Booth, a vertical speed threat on the offense. I am excited about him. We do lose out on Trey Fowler, who I added on the board late. I had a good visit with him in week 9. That was the Iowa game. But I think that said he's going to Wake Forest. We really just, I guess, did not go after him super fast enough otherwise. But overall, I think it's been a really positive season recruiting. Even though we've lost out on a lot of guys I wanted, we have some really good players joining the program next year. It's not like the other seasons where we barely get any freshmen. Now, with the tight ends, I don't think we're going to get either of these guys. Ejiofor and Collar were both in 3rd. Unless we give them major NIL boost. It worked with the safety Haggins. I really want both of these guys. Collar especially, I think has a chance to be a monster. 6'2", 250, gritty possession, probably a heck of an athlete, I would think, too, with his star rating. To me, that's worth 230 points because we've got plenty to spend. So hopefully, we can convince him to make this happen. With Troy Tolbert, he visited last week. The visit went well. Tennessee still has a big lead. And I think we have other linebackers on the board like Jawan Bloom anyway. So I think we're going to take Tolbert off of the list. He's been on it all year. I offered a scholarship to this running back, Christian Rooks, who I just put on, and he insta-commits. So we just added another running back, a JUCO sophomore. We now have a dozen players, 2 5s, 4 4s, 6 3s. I'm also going to up the NIL offer for Darian Snodgrass. I think he's going to be an offensive lineman. We've struggled in terms of recruiting offensive linemen. We've lost all of those battles this year. And since we're in 4th place, I think we need a little pick-me-up. So we're number 18. We only go up 1 spot. Hopefully during the bye week, we have some chaos and some teams ahead of us lose and move down. No new commitments. Nobody's going anywhere else, though. With the tight ends, I don't really think we have a great shot, to be honest. I think the only way we can make it work with Collar is by swaying him away from the F-plane style deal breaker. I feel like it's worth a shot, and we can still soft sell his current deal breaker. So why not? It's worth a try. I don't think we're going to get him otherwise, so we might as well throw up the Hail Mary and give it our best shot. We're number 17 now going into conference championship week. We lose out on a safety, George Turbin. That's fine. We've got a bunch of other safeties on our list. And then the offensive lineman, Snodgrass, who we just gave a bunch of NIL points to, he locks us out as well. We're in a recruiting battle with Ejiofor and Strange, which Ejiofor, it's interesting because Arizona's had the lead on him the whole time, but the recruiting battle seems to be with Indiana, which is fascinating. We can no longer give points to our recruits until the offseason. I seriously don't know what happened with Arizona here. but I guess he's probably going to Indiana. Our recruiting board has certainly gotten smaller. We are down to 23 players, half of whom have committed. We're going after a lot of these other guys hard, like Collar. Let's see what happens during Conference Championship Week as we hope and pray that some of these teams lose and move down the list a lot, but it certainly feels unlikely. We land a hard commitment from Terrell Warring. Bang! That's a big one. I can breathe knowing we don't have to worry about Georgia or Clemson flipping him. He is going to be joining our program. Really good player, 6'2", zone coverage, man coverage. I think he has 93 speed. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of Polo Anderson. He could probably play corner. Snodgrass is going to Notre Dame. Ejiofor is going to Indiana. Jason Strange we had a good visit with in the Ohio State game. He's going to Louisville. Jordan Bernstein of North Texas. We played against him last year. Wins the Heisman. Those are crazy numbers. My goodness. As for the bowl game, Delaware is not going to the playoff. We are going to the Relia Quest Bowl against number 12 Tennessee. So at the very least, we're going to get a really good game. Have a lot of job offers. Indiana is interested. Kurt Signetti retires. He is done. But we're obviously sticking around here with the Blue Hens. Indiana, number 14. We're right behind them at 15. Tennessee's at number 12. So North Texas ended up getting the last spot. I suppose they beat Memphis in the conference title. So Memphis barely misses out on the playoffs again. You know what? Good. Karma for beating us and taking our spot away. If we can't go, you can't either. That has developed into quite the rivalry with us in Memphis. I'm definitely going to schedule them again next year, I feel like. But let's simulate into Bowl Week 2. 10-2 Tennessee. Wait. So you're telling me a 10-win SEC team did not make the playoff? This is the greatest day ever. I could not imagine what the talking heads on ESPN would be saying if Tennessee at 10-2 missed the playoffs. That would be genuinely hilarious. The Big Ten in this series was clearly the best conference this year, a dominant league. Tennessee's really good, though. I certainly do not want to undervalue them. They will be without their star running back, Orlando Fair. They've got a good young quarterback, Jameel Howden, the new running back. Tobias Reese, true sophomore, is the QB. 33 passing touchdowns for the Vols this season. Also, something else I find interesting, look at our team rating. We're only a 95. How did that happen? We were just a 99. Why did we go down by 4? That definitely caught me off guard because our team rating has gone up so quickly in this series. Year 1, we were in the 60s. Year 2, we were in the 70s. Year 3, we were in the 80s. This year, we're in the 90s. We go up to 99. We've never gone down until right now. I don't know what happened. But here we go. The final game of year number 5, the Relia Quest Bowl in Tampa at the Buccaneers and South Florida Stadium. Who knows? Maybe we'll be playing at the stadium quite a bit in Madden 27. My franchise teams list will be out within the next couple days, by the way, on YouTube Shorts. Stay tuned. As Eric Dickens runs for a first down. That was 4th down, by the way. A nice conversion. 2nd and goal. Nelson Wheeler in for a score. Hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns this year. He also hasn't really scored off the field with Noah Halliday, trying to steal his lady. The Vols get it now. Tobias Reese throws it up. Whoop! Spin move. Touchdown, Tennessee. We're tied at 7. That, my friends, was a heck of a maneuver. That white boy got motion. We're knotted up at 7 apiece. A really nice play by Finau Chu. As Dickens is sacked by Deion Sermons. That'll wrap up the first quarter. Into the second now. Tennessee looking to take the lead. As it's first down, they've got it near the 30. Play action. Play action. Reese under pressure, and he is sacked. Chadwick Cannon Jr. and Tyrone Chance are 2 senior defensive tackles who have both played their best football over the last month of the year. 3rd and long. It'll just be a 4th and longer. And they're going to kick. This is a 57-yarder. It's up, and it is on the money for Maxwell Biggs. A heck of a kick for the Vols. They lead 10-7. Here is Delaware. Jameer Yates breaking tackles up the middle. Yates escapes through the wreckage. What a run! 25, 20, 15, 10. High stepping into the end zone for a touchdown. What a play. Delaware right back on top. Just one play later, a 75-yard score for Jameer Yates. By far the longest run this team has had this year. Where have the explosives been on the ground? We haven't been able to get these backs out to the second level. That was a heck of a run by Yates. 3 minutes to go in the half. Broken away by Leon Irvin on third down, so that'll force a punt. Delaware's got it with 30 seconds. Third down and 15. Dickens looks to throw it under pressure, and he's just going to throw it away. Nobody was open, and the offensive line continues to not do him any favors. There's a flag, but I think they're going to get Dickens for intentional grounding. So that'll just move us the wrong way and make this field goal way harder. This is a long one. 59 yards. Tennessee made one from 57. Flavor's kick is up. It is no good. Wide left. And that'll do it for a pretty competitive and exciting first half. Delaware on top here at the Really Quest Bowl, 14-10. It's been a pretty good offensive start, I would say. We've moved the ball. We've gotten big plays. We've gotten solid drives. I think the offense has played better than they have as of recent. Maybe, with the downgrading competition from the Big Ten to the SEC as we move into the third. On second down, under pressure, up the middle. That one is caught. It's Chu who gets it inside the 5. The big game so far for Finial Chu. 5 catches, 96 yards. Here is Reese. Pitches it to the outside. Touchdown Vols. Jameel Howden with the score. And Tennessee takes the lead 17-14. 4 to go in the third. Dickens scrambles, hoping someone gets open, and he's got it. Corbin Glasgow jukes 2 defenders, and he is gone. We have not had a lot of big plays this year. There have not been many splashes, not many explosives, but we've gotten a couple this afternoon. A huge play for Glasgow. It's officially a 61-yarder, and the Blue Hens are back ahead, 21-17. Here's Tennessee, play action. Reese looks to throw it up the middle. That one is caught. First down, past the 25-yard line. Finial Chu has not been coverable. He's been unstoppable. True sophomore as he's in the end zone for a touchdown. Continuing his outstanding game. 5'9", 171. 2 touchdowns today. 24-21. Delaware looking to repay the favor, but they're unable to punch it in on 3rd and goal with Yates. It's the ball game, man. We're going for it. 4th and goal at about the 3. We have struggled in this spot countless times throughout the year. Dickens hit as he throws. Touchdown! R.J. Mosley with the score in what could be his final touchdown during his 3 years at Delaware. We will make it a 4-point lead with the extra point. That was a full-on blitz. Tennessee sent pressure. Good job by Dickens to get it out. Vols looking for some big plays. How about this one for Clayton Fiore? That's 32 yards. Somebody's got to bring him down earlier. Longest pass of the game for Tennessee. Longest play of the game. Reese scrambles, gets the first. Past the 10, diving down. And with about 4 minutes to go, they are certainly in range to take the lead. 3rd down. Short throw. Not enough for Jameel Howden. It's a 4th down and about 4 for Tennessee. Down by 4, you got to go for it. Reese hoists it up. Touchdown! Tennessee takes the lead. Isaiah Clark, the true freshman, puts the Vols on top. Okay, so this is where things get weird. It's obviously a 2-point game, right? Tennessee goes up for the extra point, makes the kick. Look at the scoreboard. They didn't give Tennessee the point. I don't know why, but it helps us. We're only down by 2. Field goal wins it. Nelson Wheeler with the first near the 40. EA certainly threw us a bone there. I don't know what that was about. Dickens on 3rd and 4. Gets the first with his legs. Putting his body on the line. Another 3rd down. Wheeler's got it. And he fumbles the ball. And it's picked up by Tennessee. Nelson Wheeler fumbled his girl, and he fumbles the pigskin late in this game. Now, interestingly, Tennessee's throwing the ball. They threw it on 1st down. Throw it away on 2nd down. I mean, what is the thought process here? Why are they throwing it? 3rd down, caught, but he's out of bounds. They wasted maybe 7 seconds on that drive and got negative 2 yards. So instead of forcing Delaware to burn our timeouts, we still have all 3. Jeremiah Denson will return it. Denson, the transfer corner, with a big return past the 35. So what? The fumble caused us to lose 20 yards? That's a lot better than the alternative. Short throw. It's the fullback, Okorafor, and we're going to use our first timeout. We're putting all our eggs into this drive. If we don't score here, the game's over. 3rd down, Wheeler gets the first. Way to recover after the bad fumble. At the 50-yard line, we're not that far away from field goal range, and we've got 2 timeouts. Dickens connects with Langford, gets the first, out of bounds, near the 35. And we are very close to being in field goal range. 31 seconds, 2 timeouts. Dickens scrambles. Just don't do anything really stupid. It's caught. That's fine. I'm going to use our second timeout. We still have one. I think we just need to focus on giving ourselves the best possible field goal. I think we're going to run the ball. Wheeler lassoed down. He gets nothing. Really, the goal here is to center the kick. I don't even care if we don't get positive yardage. Center the kick. Make it as easy as possible for Brendan Flavors. Nope. The run blocking doesn't want to do us any solids. Okay, great. So this is going to be a hard kick. 52-yarder from the right hash. Flavors missed one from 59 from the right hash earlier. So we're going to call the timeout with 3 seconds left. This is it. Final play of the game. Final play of the season. Down by 2. Josh Heupel is going to call time to try to ice the kicker. For the Really a Quest Bowl, can Delaware get win number 10 on the year? Brendan Flavors for the win. It is up. And it is right down the middle. Delaware wins it at the buzzer with a walk-off field goal. 31-30, and we have won the Really a Quest Bowl over Tennessee. I'm happy Flavors finished strong. After the missed kick against Memphis, you know, he's partly responsible for our season ending here, but at least he's responsible for it ending with a W. 31-30, really good game. I'm happy the offense played as well as they did. Now, the offensive line stunk again, but the playmakers had their best game of the year. Eric Dickens, I thought, was good too, especially in a game where the defense honestly wasn't very good. The offense, man, they were money. Jahmyr Yates had a phenomenal day, even aside from the 75-yard run. Corbin Glasgow had his best game of the year. Mosley had a big score. The defense certainly did not have their best day, but we got a big stop on the last drive. Granted, I think it was more because of Tennessee's stupidity, throwing the ball 3 times. We also had some help with the extra point not counting for whatever reason. But we'll take it. Certainly an interesting season. I mean, double-digit wins in our first year in the Big Ten is obviously an accomplishment. But it also felt like this team, especially on offense, had a lot of hiccups. I do want to discuss the Miles Johnson situation now that his red shirt is over and he will be back next year. The real reason why I redshirted him, I was honest in my reasoning earlier after the Arkansas game, but the full and honest reason isn't just because of the guys we had ahead of him, but it's more so through the first 3 games of the year, it was very obvious to me that this team was not good enough. We were not going to go on a playoff run. The quarterback play and the offense was holding us back, and that obviously carried over through the rest of the year, causing us to miss the college football playoff. So my thought process is, why waste Miles Johnson this year when we're probably going to have better quarterback play next year, and now we have this awesome number 1 receiver that we can get really excited about? It's certainly a bold choice, but I think we can really take advantage next season, whether J.J. Bayer is the starter, whether we get somebody from the portal, or whether it's one of the guys we currently have. USC goes back-to-back. They beat Nebraska in the title, so the Big Ten reigns supreme again. What a surprise after USC beat fellow in-conference opponent Ohio State last year. A little bit closer this go-around. But as I look at this Delaware team and think back to what was certainly an interesting Season 5, statistically, we certainly had one of the better defenses in the conference. I think we allowed the least amount of points per game. Second least overall behind UCLA, which that loss in hindsight really did not age that badly. UCLA was really good. They did not play in a bowl game, though, at 9-3. Did they pull a Notre Dame and skip? Our offense, though, was statistically one of the lesser ones in the conference. And obviously some of these teams higher had more games, but we would have never caught them. So where does the offense go from here? Because it wasn't just the quarterback play. To me, it was the entire offense. We did not have running backs that could make plays in the second level. We did not have ball winners at wide receiver. And when they did get open vertically, the offensive line did not give the quarterbacks enough time to throw it. With that being said, the quarterback play was also very spotty. Vi Zambrano turned it over a lot. And Eric Dickens just really wasn't as good as the guys we've had in prior years. It was a collective failure from the offense. Now, luckily, we're going to have a very new group next year. Top 2 running backs are gone. Top 3 wide receivers are gone. 4 of the 5 starters on the offensive line are gone. And who knows what we're going to do with the 2 quarterbacks. So it is going to be a very new-look unit on that side of the ball. We're certainly going to rebuild things through the transfer portal with the freshman class, along with some of the guys who we already have. Now, of course, I'm going to miss a lot of these guys. Glasgow's been here for 2 years. Mosley's been here for 3. Yates and Wheeler and Evan Langford. Defensively, we're going to have a lot of new pieces as well. I think roughly 2/3 of our starters are seniors. So the guys who are underclassmen. We're certainly going to prioritize bringing a lot of them back. The defense had their ups and downs, but overall they were a pretty good unit. But most of this team really is not coming back. This is an older group. Much like last year and unlike Season 3, practically half of the roster is filled with seniors. Now, luckily, we have a lot of dynasty points to spend this offseason, which is good because most of the guys on this screen who are starters are not coming back. Defensively, I think only 3 of those guys. None of the defensive linemen, 1 of the linebackers, 2 of the DBs. That's it. But we do have 6,600 total points to spend and 3,000 still up for grabs. That's a lot. Our prestige did not move up. We're still a 3-star. I think this is where that would have happened. But we have a lot of NIL that we can use on our current roster and in the portal. What do we choose to do at quarterback? What do we do with the remaining players on the roster? We have a pretty big freshman class coming in as is, so we're going to have less players to get in the portal. Maybe that means we can shoot bigger and go after some real star power. I'm curious to hear some thoughts down below. I know this was a long episode, but certainly I would say the craziest and the most exciting season we've had so far. Hopefully that is until Season 6. With a 5-star quarterback coming in and a lot of dynasty points to spend, next year could be our best one yet. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.